Time for Type 40 Live, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show, setting you up for the weekend across your view screen on Rumble, X, YouTube, and on Facebook too. Here's where we track and cover all things Doctor Who, from the way back then to the right here and the right now, all in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions, just like you. And if you're feeling somewhat, how should we put it, drained, maybe, or reeling from ratings, haunted by hashtags, we can guarantee a couple of hours of lively conversation, at least here on the Big Who. Something's coming through. We're looking to the past to uncover the present. Where else could that be but right here on Type 40 Live? Oh dear, oh dear. I'm confused enough as it is by the weekend. It's gone all, I think we turned inside out here and we're going meta already. I'm going to need to compose myself before trying to unravel any of this, any corner of this. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks. I do know that. For now, at least, there have been streams where I have forgotten who I am halfway through, but I vamped it and made it through anyway with your help. Everybody out there in the live chat, in the comments on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X, we'll find out who you are in a moment or two. We've got some comments already, more of those. Thank you, everybody. We're going to get stuck into a whole array of topics this time before we plunge deep into some dark topics in a plucky effort to see our way through to the near future. Stick around for that. We're going to need your help to decode as much of it as we can. There's not as much room in here as there usually is. The bloody great big boxes. Somebody's parked that there. Charlotte, you can give me a hand. Give me a hand with this at all.
I was going to say, have you left the phone like that, Dan? Because that's really bad, just leaving it hanging.
Is it worse than leaving the toilet roll dangling or better? It's about the same.
If it's the TARDIS, it's worse, I would argue. Hello,
if it's engaged or not. Hello, Charlotte. Let's raise the tone slightly for now, shall we? How are you?
Good. Actually, it's been weird. I literally had my duty when I'm on the playground, sat with the sun with my sunglasses, which was a bit of an odd feeling in Britain currently.
Catching some rays, I believe they call that.
I was watching the children, don't worry, but it was just weird to be sort of. It felt summer, finally. So we were getting there, folks.
It's definitely getting there. Say it turns parky when you least expect it, doesn't it? It catches me unawares.
All at once, and then you feel like really cold.
This is why the Brits are obsessed with the weather. This is what we have to tell people who watch us overseas all the time. If we're not talking about the weather, we're talking about food or something of that nature, aren't we?
Yeah, biscuits. Usually.
Yes, we've covered a lot of biscuits in our time, haven't we?
We have.
We take it so seriously, don't we? Okay, yes, and we have got a lot to get into this time. We're chomping at the bit. So as you can see, I have brought forth my hair. I've quiffed up for the occasion. It was my effort to make somewhat of an entrance, but I have been bested. Who've I been bested by this time? Well, I think there's only one real contender, isn't there? And he's run away with the crown this time. Welcome back, Luke Walters.
So I've gone from Matt Smith straight to channeling 14 David Tennant pre-title quiff hair this time. So, and I still got all my limbs. Didn't get eaten by lions.
You made it. No, they didn't get you in the end. Well,
no, not at all. Not at all. Twatted one of them with a kilogram of horse flesh in the head. The guy told me to lob it, and I did, and pelted the lines right in the face accidentally. Which is not my wisest move, I will admit. But hello, Stephen. Oh. Hello, everyone in the chat. But yeah, it was good. It was good. It was fun.
Do you mean to tell me you started a rumble with the King of the Jungle, the lion?
I did. Well, I used to be a wrestler, didn't I? So
you didn't wrestle lions, did you?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Hey, what I did on a bank holiday Monday is between me and that lion. That sounds so wrong.
Luke, was your side job to be in the circus then if you were doing that?
I think my missus would kill me if I ever went to the circus. Jesus Christ!
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, my missus would absolutely murder me. So, but yeah, gone full Tennant. The hair was too long; it had to go.
Yeah.
So I've gone full quiff. Johnny Bravo, more like Johnny Bravo than David Tennant, I will admit. But
Excellent stuff. Well, it allows you to get some sort of more air around your ears and into the brain to help us make sense of everything that's kicked off in the last few days. Doctor Who went seriously meta at the weekend. They were jumping in and out of the telly. They got fans on the screen as well, and hashtags too. These fans and that hashtag RIP Doctor Who. This is something I never expected to see canonized anytime soon, particularly as we had here on the show on Saturday in our reaction show. We got one of the blokes who invented that hashtag in the first place right here on the panel. He wasn't best pleased about it, but how are you after the weekend, Luke? Was it weird to see fandom reflected in the show in that way?
Well, obviously we do Hooligans, which is the web series that I keep selling, which is very much, if you look at the characters, they're in the scarf, they're in the fez, they're in everything. So as soon as that scene happened, you're very good at this. Everyone was messaging me, being like, "Oh, I can't believe this happened," and I was like, "Hey, if this wasn't filmed before Hooligans, I would have been like, right, okay, something's going on here." This was filmed about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So, yeah, I thought it's very, very different, very, very different. But I enjoyed it. It's a bit of fun. So, but yeah, justice for Hooligans, justice for the Hooligans.
I did wonder. I thought they've stolen your shtick, haven't they? They've half-inched it before.
Yeah.
But you're coming back. You're coming back. XL, aren't you? We've got this brand new poster for Hooligans. You're taking it to the film festivals, aren't you? You've been invited to an award ceremony, I believe.
Yes. So for anyone that doesn't know, we are going to the May the 4th Sci-Fi Film Festival on I think it's May the 3rd, actually.
Of course.
Yeah, I May the 4th is Sundays. So we're going over to Port McGee. Yeah, so that's Luke Skywalker's Island from The Last Jedi. So there's a film festival there, and we're doing a special screening of this version of it. This one is not the...
Mate, don't, whatever you do, don't, when you're over there, don't drink the milk. Don't drink the milk.
Yeah.
No, I've already been on the island. It's so cool. But yeah, we're doing a special. So we've edited the entire series into a 66-minute feature version with new scenes, new color grading, new sound mixing. So it's a new experience for people to come back into it. So that's what we're presenting. So anyone who is in Ireland will actually see the finale before it releases online on May 31st, I believe it is. But we might bring that a little bit earlier as well, because we're going to release this a little sooner in June as well. So yeah, it's all steam ahead. So I think, yeah, we're up for everything. I think Brandon's up for best actor, Ellie's up for best actress, we're for best screenplay, best feature film, international film. So yeah, it's a bit all encompassing, and we're up against my own film as well. We're up against the Time Machine, so I'm going against myself in the film festival. So
you can be in sort of two places at once then with all things Cinescope.
Yeah, it seems that way. It's tiring at the minute. So yeah, so if anyone is over in Ireland, we're over there. Come say hello to us. We'll be the drunk ones in the corner. So yeah, all fun, all fun, and justice for the Hooligans. Sorry,
if
Russell.
only they had as much fun on actual Doctor Who. I mean, how did you take all of this, Luke? Because some people are really quite upset about the portrayal of the fans in this, and particularly the use of that hashtag, because it's seen as quite contentious, isn't it? I mean, what's your take on that?
I didn't mind it personally. Because obviously you read the leaks and the rumors and everything. I was like, oh, okay. I kind of heard it a little bit ago that it's in Port McGee in County Kerry. If Aidan asked, but yeah, to be fair, I was like, oh, okay. I like it's definitely not true, because no Doctor Who fans will ever agree that Blink is their favorite story. Genesis wasn't mentioned. Earthshock wasn't mentioned. Caves of Androzani, Five Doctors, Time Warrior. None of these are mentioned, and everyone's just going to go straight to Blink. It's like, okay.
I just think that was like him having a joke, like on screen with Moffat, like, because they're very they do that. I remember when they were doing the watch-alongs, and like they were sort of very playfully sort of taking the mick out of each other. So I think that was Russell's little joke.
Would it have been better if Russell was in it? Would it be better if Russell or Moffat, if they come out and them two were in it instead? Yeah, I would have much preferred that than than this. But I enjoyed it for what it was anyway. I enjoyed it. It's nice to see the collection box sets are now officially canon. So there you go. That's something.
So you don't take it too seriously then? I mean, neither do I. I'm still unsure about because I don't really like it when shows go meta. It's just not to my taste. And I do think it can sometimes sort of break things or bend things too far out of shape. But I'll probably go back to it. But it sort of took me out of the drama a little. That was my the main thing I'd got, against it. But at the end of the day, you kind of want the show to experiment. It's just in such a precarious situation at the moment. I think people are a little bit incensed by the audacity, I suppose. It seems reckless. I think that's where a lot of people are with it. Usually, you're quite right. When people talk about favourite Doctor Who stories, there's no consensus there. And if people are very firm about something, it has been known to turn to fisticuffs. I think my money would be on the chick on the right. I think she'd probably take out the other two, no problem at all. But that does tend to happen. But it's never happened here at Type 40 Live, mainly because we're all on various webcams all over the world. So we are all in Britain. This bloke, he's over there in the States. He's sporting another fabulous cap. Happy to welcome back Gary Akers, the Retro Doc.
Hello, sir. Greetings, everybody.
New cap.
Yo.
Yeah, it says make Doctor Who great again.
Does it really?
It does.
Yeah, did you not see it?
It says make Doctor Who great again.
You have to tell me where you got this, Gary. Who wouldn't agree with this?
Right.
I love it. So much of Ross T. Davis of Bad Form. Hello, Gary. Good to see you, mate. How have you been?
Yeah, it's great to be with all of you. No, I know this is a sentiment that everybody can get on board with.
Get behind. Oh, yeah. Who'd argue with that?
Yeah.
Even Biden and Trump would agree on that.
Yeah, well, maybe we can take some of our national budget and throw it over there to the BBC.
Doctor Who's way.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, it's still got some viewers left. You still there? Yeah, they're still here. Okay.
Yeah, so, I actually I know that I didn't realize this on the Saturday show on this. I think that there was an immediate sign that all of these weren't real because all of the collection sets on the shelf weren't in chronological order. That was the biggest sign that these were imaginary fans.
That's bad. That's bad form. They've got a hell of a nerve putting that out there, haven't they? Out there into the ether. That would explain actually where one of our panelists has been for a few weeks and why she's back now. She probably went straight over there to sort it all out, put them straight, and now she's back. I'm happy to say, welcome back, starry-eyed girl, Sarah Graham.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Hello, chat. Hello, everybody, and hello, Luke, because this is the first time I've seen you face to face. That's lovely, but I've been keeping track.
I don't know why I started undoing my jacket then when you said that.
I don't know. It's going to be hot now.
It's stripping.
That's on all the blokes.
Yes, Gary, I love the hat.
Oh, thank you.
And you're looking very patriotic as your honorary break, because obviously it was St. George's Day yesterday. So,
no, St. George's Day is next Monday.
Is it next
moved. It's moved. Yeah, it's common misconception. The Church of England moved it because you can't have two things within the same week as Easter and St. George's Day. So there you go.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. So it's next Monday, St. George's Day.
Well, that's great. We can have another celebration then. Bring it on.
Get a proper education here at Type 40 Live. You don't get that on Radio Free Scaro, do you? You know what to do, everybody. Well, Sarah, it's great to have you back. Have you been keeping tabs on where things have been going lately? And those two characters, the new heroes of True Fandom?
Yeah, it has come to my attention. People keep sending me things. Yeah, you won't be surprised to know that I'm not a fan. I'm very much on the... I'm not upset as such. I just think it's hilarious that critics are getting into Russell's head. I just thought it was a very silly thing to do when the show is, in such a precarious place. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
They went sort of meta, didn't they? Of course, what these fans do the rest of the week, heaven only knows when there's no new Doctor Who on. And then it looks like there's not going to be any new Doctor Who for quite a while after this lot either. So they'll be staring into space for an extended period, or will they? Because we've got some news coming in just in the last few hours about this. We've got a signal coming through, Sarah. You're going to like this. So it turns out that classic Doctor Who is on its way back to screens. Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't. I'm intrigued.
You're in luck if you have a You and Eden. So this is one of the UK TV cluster of channels, which for years this was UK Horizons and then UK TV documentary, but it's been Eden now for about 10, 15 years, something like that. So it's one of these cable channels that's evolved. It turns out that they're running a series of Doctor Who repeats starting from early May with this guy, with the third Doctor. They're starting with season 7 with the colour stuff and working their way through. So all that stuff that we talked about a couple of months ago on the show there when the Blu-ray came out, the viewers here, they're not going to know what hit them, are they? The normal viewers of Eden, which is usually full of documentaries about sort of flower beds and things like that, and where to find woodlice and how to spot a field mouse compared to a normal mouse. It's usually that kind of thing. But they're going to get Autons and Silurians and various others instead. They're showing 4 episodes a night, stripped across every weeknight as well. They're going hard, all in, with classic Doctor Who on Eden. This is a major surprise. But what do you think of this? Has anybody seen this news before? And do you usually watch Eden, Charlotte?
I didn't know it existed, if I'm going to be honest, before this. I'm just intrigued that it's them doing this. Like you said, it's the idea of every night a new story. It seems to almost be like an event type sort of scheduling of it. And like you said, it's brilliant that I've always said this, when classic can get on other formats, all for it. I'm just like you, a bit intrigued why this has happened. I'm being honest, and how it's going.
It was weird enough. It was weird enough when it turned up on the Horror Channel a few years ago, I think. But at least on that channel, it's got a reputation for screening a lot of drama, whereas Eden is documentaries, and usually a very particular kind of documentary. So we're all rather surprised to see them plunge so headlong into classic Doctor Who, because obviously showing episodes at that kind of a rate, they're really going to get through the classic series. But it turns out that UK TV is now completely owned by the BBC. They used to co-own it.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, they used to co-own it. Now they've bought it all, and they've got this brand new sort of logo and set of identities, which they've gradually been doing this since about October time. And it seems that the idea now is that Eden is going to be kind of rebadged as a classic TV channel about everything that's sort of English and British and Welsh and Scottish. So it's all going to be sort of pulling itself in. But I think more like Talking Pictures TV and Rewind TV. That's the impression that it still seems like a very strange sort of pivot for a channel like that.
Is that what that is? I was going to say, is that what the new Bergerac is on?
That's on You and Drama. But that's a new commission. Toby Whithouse's Bergerac. So it's a sister channel of this. So it was renamed from Eden to You and Eden, but everybody still calls it Eden. And it's the same with drama as well. So all part of this sort of mini network, I suppose. But it seems that now the BBC owns it lock and stock. They're going to sort of throw all in with it, because they can make, obviously they carry advertising on these channels, Gary. So they're able to make money off this content.
Will there be a way to
would.
Will there be a way to track how many people are watching?
Probably. I think, yeah, probably.
That's great.
They'll be published. I mean, fans have been chomping at the bit for it to turn up on BBC 4 for a couple of years, but they seem to be limiting their content more to sort of art content, proper music and vintage sort of adult drama and adult drama. That sounds well, but plays and things like that, and theme seasons, rather than plunging so deep into something as populist as Doctor Who, which is obviously what You and Eden are going to do from the 5th of May there with Spearhead from Space, a story that we've all, I think most of us have probably owned that on multiple formats already. But this is where they always tend to start.
I think fans need to send a message. Everybody, go and watch this. and you and Eden, let's get the ratings up, and that will prove once and for all, even though we've got it with the collection Blu-rays that are always in the top 10, Classic Who sells. Classic Who gets the viewers.
Well,
But yeah, I'm
here-
baffled that it's not on a BBC channel, but obviously it's the advertise. It's a money-making scheme. That this is how desperate they are. They need the adverts, which
Well,
just
here's
proves
the
again that, you know, we don't need the license fee. It's outdated.
Oh yeah, they always say they're fine for that. But I find interesting that it sounds like they're using Classic Who, which to me shows actually they do know this. They just like to pretend it doesn't exist. That they're using Classic Who to make this rebrand sort of stick of that it is sort of that vintage sort
Yeah.
of TV, because that I think that has been growing the last couple of years. People want to go back and watch old shows from sort of BBC back in the day, or because it's BBC is so different now to what it was. Whether you think that's a good or bad thing, you can't deny it's completely changed. And I think
Charlotte,
people,
when the cable network first started in 1992, when they first started with cable TV in Britain, they Gold, as it's now called, was UK Gold, and they used to show Doctor Who on that. I mean, I don't think it was Right Away. No, it was Right Away. So it was drama, game show, sci-fi. You got a bit of everything on it then. And then I think it was about 10 years later, they went pure comedy, and everything else got shuffled over onto drama and various other channels. And gradually Doctor Who just sort of completely slipped out of the cycle of it. But it's not, I think when you track other shows, like classic crime dramas like Bergerac, it's not that unusual. And Last of the Summer Wine's another one. That's turned up that gets shown on You and Drama as well. And yet it's a sitcom, Gary. So there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. But of course, Bergerac, Last of the Summer Wine, they've got their fan bases, but they haven't got the dogged army of fans watching every single move like with Doctor Who fans. But if they're broadcasting this stuff in some sort of pattern where we can keep track of it and can support it, then it will at least show the BBC, whilst they're losing faith in the show on telly proper, that we're still here. We're still here.
It's great that they still recognize the quality and popularity not only of Doctor Who, but of all the other shows you mentioned, that they haven't discarded them in the interests of what they think of as like current day interest, that they recognize quality is timeless. It's in their treasury of shows. So just open the gates and let everybody see them.
Because that's the thing, is that as fans, Luke, we don't want to keep these things to ourselves. We want as many of the not we to see this stuff as possible, so we can rattle on to them about it and sort of grow the church of Who, don't we? That's what fans are like. We like to bring people in.
Yeah, massively. And as I said before, is like I first got into it in 2005 with Eccleston, and then I went back, and my father, my uncle, introduced me to the Green Death because that was filmed by me, and I got into John Pertwee then through that. So the more people I can see, especially the old content, the stuff the BBC used to make as well, is untouchable, really. When you look at like Dad's Army, Only Fools and Horses, Faulty Towers, it's like, what has BBC made recently to even be in the same breath? Are you going to put a Mrs. Brown Boys in there? It's like, no, absolutely not. It's like, come on. So I think for it to have a home where people can watch it, I used to love watching UK TV Gold back in the day. Like, I used to love it, but the fact that now it's coming up and they put in the Classic Who on it, that's I think that's great. That's a win for everyone. So I wonder if we get Terror of the Zygons. They sort those rights out in the end. Not on iPlayer. Maybe they'll be on here. Who knows?
That was my question. Do you
Oh,
think
yeah.
the ones that have disappeared off iPlayer or that haven't been on iPlayer might get played on this channel? Because maybe it's a different holder and a different negotiation. They've managed
Could
to
be.
get them. That would be intriguing, definitely. That was my thoughts.
Because it's a commercial proposition.
Exactly.
The iPlayer and thus the Whoniverse, which is now shedding stories from its collection, from its various hubs. It's a different prospect. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to be there. It wouldn't surprise me if an agreement hasn't been reached in that way, because obviously the iPlayer, the Whoniverse, was available to anybody who got a TV license anyway. They weren't charging extra for that. What this could mean for the Whoniverse in the long term, heaven only knows, because I've got a really bad feeling about the future of this, Sarah.
Yeah, it's not looking good. To me, it feels like the BBC is almost cannibalizing itself at this point to stay alive and relevant. And maybe this is what they need to do. I mean, how many years have we all been saying they need to go with advertising? They need to just do it. This whole thing is outdated, but they are hanging on for dear life until it kills them, I think.
Get classic Doctor Who, or at least the colour stuff, forward on You and Eden. That's from Monday the 5th on You and Eden there. Starts with season 7, and who knows how far they're going to make their way through the rest of it, and whether they're going to go back and show some of the other stuff as well. I suppose it depends on if there's enough support for it. Who shows up? Who shows up? Hope these guys don't all show up at once. Heaven knows. It'd be absolute chaos. Okay, I think we should go and take the pulse over there in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. They're all over there now, wondering if they've got access to You and Eden on their EPG. So yeah, let's waste no time and see what's going on, see what they're all talking about. And is there anybody out there who hasn't yet seen Spearhead from Space? I suppose that's the big question, isn't it?
Are you and Marauder Sethu? Jesus.
You not seen that?
And then maybe we haven't had more, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more. There's
Oh,
more.
That's in Charlotte. That's in Dan's private collection.
Got you.
That's for Type 40 After Dark.
Yes.
Believe me, compared to some of the stuff that some people have been sending me, you naughty, you know who you are. I've been quite restrained. Thank you, everybody, for waiting so far. Let's have a look at some of the comments and who's joined us on this edition of the show. Crimpling Doubloons in, so is Lord Thoth, and Oti is on the clock as well, Sarah. Good to see some of these names again.
It is, yeah. Oh, yeah. But we've got the best chat in YouTube. So, yeah, I missed you all. And I've heard you've got some new ones as well. So that's really exciting. New
Woodhouse 122 was ahead of the curve there. He's just found out Classic Who is coming to Freeview channel, You and Eden. One story every night, starting with Spearhead from Space. Absolutely. Rose Kirby's in the live chat. Hello, hey, good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the universe. She likes to cover all bases.
She really
Rose
does.
does.
I'm Truman Show.
Yeah.
We've interrupted Tom once more. Tom at T-Dwarf Productions, from his production line of Doctor Who monsters and various characters. So he's at the moment he's making a model of a Sontaran for Colin Baker. So you're going to present this to the great man himself. Good stuff. Let us know how you get on. As always, Tom, Matthew Butterfield is in as well. So is Domgo. Good evening, you lovely folk. He's come to the wrong. He's come to the wrong show. Keeps happening, doesn't it? We've got Garbage in the live chat. Oh, that 7 days went fast. Here we go again. You're telling me, pal. We've had a long Easter weekend. Well, longish. It's the tune, says Domgo. It is the tune, the best theme tune in all of Doctor Who podcasting.
That's right.
Anthony Parkinson. I can't read that out. I'm going to read it anyway. Like Russell T. Davis and Shooty Gatwa, I am enjoying some exciting balls this evening. Two screenings, so he's watching the snooker. Who's in it? Who's in the final? Is it the final tonight?
I'll have a look now.
My parents are probably watching it. I have no idea.
I should know because I walked past the Crucible. I pay no attention whatsoever.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
It might
very
be
cool.
Ronnie. I know Ronnie has been in the tournament, so it's probably him.
Ronnie O'Sullivan. No, he comes from up the road from me. We have mutual friends. He was a bad lad when he was a young guy. Rob Alexander says greetings. Greetings, chat, and hello to the panel. And we've got Aidan McGeer in as well. See, he's just joining in. Don't mind me. Tuning in via reversing the polarity of the neutron flow. Best of
Very
luck. You
good.
keep
Hello,
twiddling it.
David.
Hi, David.
We've got more hashtags being dropped in the live chat. What have we started? Lee Smith says dark topics sounds like a chocolate bar. Did they ever do a dark topic? If not, why not? Get a dark.
I don't remember that they did.
It does sound like a chocolate bar, though.
It does. It does. Hail Luke, says Ezra Goldstein. You get a hail?
Nearly done something wrong then.
And Oti's asking you about your career in wrestling. I think we'll have to do a deep dive on that one of the times.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Domgo is not a fan of meta. I wonder how does she feel about it, Cheryl? Hello, my
Hello,
lovely
Cheryl.
friends. There's Cheryl
Cheryl.
in the live chat. Good stuff. Ashvin, hi Ashvin. Ashvin, he says, I'm currently watching Mind of Evil as I'm watching
love
Classic for the
that.
first
Oh,
time.
that's a good one.
It really is night and day compared to current Who. But
Yep.
enjoy yourself, Ashvin. It is lovely when you hear about people watching it for the first time, isn't it, Gary?
It
You always
is.
get a little bit envious.
And I am, because that's one of my favorite Pertwee stories. I love that story.
Hooligans did it first, says Stephen Braddock.
I wish we did. But this was filmed in Doctor Who was filmed in 2023. I think that series was filmed, that specific episode. So they did it before I did, unfortunately. But justice for Hooligans. And John Higgins is beating Chow in the snooker, and Selby trails Wollaston. And Higgins should never played he should be banned because he was match fixing. So
And also, it's not the final from you said in the chat. That's not for 2 weeks. So we're wrong on all accounts.
yeah.
Well, we're not sporty people apart from Luke.
And I'm in my rock t-shirt as well,
There we go.
rocking Dwayne the Rock Johnson. It's a little bit of America come over to Manchester, so there you go.
Oh, why not? Why not?
Oh, thank
Stephen
you,
Braddock.
Stephen.
Stephen Braddock said, I explained to a friend what happened in Saturday's episode of Doctor Who, and she said, okay, now what really happened?
Very good.
To be fair, when I chatted with Sarah and told her she had a similar response to
I
some
did.
current
I wish we'd have
Doctor Who.
filmed it. It would have been. I think it would have been gold. I looked a bit like a goldfish.
Yeah, you did. You were like, so yeah, that's what's happened, Sarah. That's what you've been missing.
We're still here, and so is Simon Ashley there. He's watching in the live chat on YouTube. Stephen Braddock has been checking to see if he's got you and Eden. And Cybermat Strikes says this is very important to Eden viewers because they will be able to spot the difference between a Silurian and a Sea Devil. They may well, if they've been watching the right documentaries.
I have to laugh. My niece is called Eden, but I don't think she'd be very impressed that she'd got a channel of documentaries named after her.
My niece is called Silurian, so that's mad. Jesus. Actually, that's a lie. I haven't got a niece.
Oh dear, oh dear.
You know what?
We've got more comments here.
That channel should have us all on after the Who block every night talking about the episodes.
They should. Make it happen. UK TV, make it happen. BBC 4 did it at one point for Tom Baker in the early 2000s because that was my entry into Who as a child, says Jay in the live chat. They've done it in fits and starts, haven't they? I think BBC 2 tried to do it a couple of times, once on Saturday afternoons and once on weekday evenings, but they always gave up. They gave up about 3 stories into the John Pertwee era
Yes.
and skipped to Genesis of the Daleks.
That's right. Yes.
Work that out. And yeah, I think that there was some on BBC 4, but again, it didn't last much longer than that. Oti wants to watch old stuff because we rarely see anything good anymore, apart from Hooligans, of course, on the Cinescope channel. Get that in your life. So that'll sort you out. It's a great starting point for new fans, says Lee Smith. That's about the repeats. That's what we want. We need all the help we can get, don't we? And yeah, lots of nostalgia for the old UK Gold as well, when they used to. And the channel called Bravo.
Oh,
Bravo
I remember that, yes.
I remember
years.
that, yeah.
They had some brilliant stuff on. That closed about a year after I got cable TV, so I missed the Wild Wild West, which I've never ever seen, and looks so much fun.
Yep.
We've got David Jenkins in the live chat as well. Good to have you back, David. Great to see you. Ian Scales too. Lots more people coming in as we speak. We've got, I think the BBC and Bad Wolf should consider the future and have a brighter concept, but I think it's too late now. Oh, Rose is getting very introspective there in the live chat. Well, hold that thought, Rose, because we've got lots more to get into as well. Sam DeMeo, sorry, is in the live chat. Hi, Sam. Good to have you with us as well. That's a new name. I think I don't quite remember that one before. And Vanessa is also here too. So, yeah, this is where the fun really starts. Now we have Vanessa. Lord, we can get into the rest of it, can't we? In case you haven't seen it or you are holding back and you're tempted, yet you can still watch it. They need all the help they can get. So get over there to iPlayer or Disney Plus before that next episode drops. Lux is now streaming it. Find out what on earth we've been rambling on about and who those three characters were there in those various pictures. If you've been staying clean of it all. And to be honest, I can't say I'd blame you. Staying clean? That doesn't sound like Type 40 Live, does it? That's not our usual stick at all. Okay, this is Type 40 Live on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. Stick with us. We'll keep you smiling through somehow, by fair means or foul. This is going down quite well this week. So we've snipped some segments, popped them on the channel there, including our predictions for 2025. So we made those 2-3 months ago, something like that. And already I think we are seeing if any of them have come true, could come true. People have had a lot of fun watching that and sort of throwing them back to us. So thank you for all of that. If you didn't see the original show, there it is in that kind of truncated form, as well as the Cancel Crisis, the Doctor Who Diary special that Simon Horton put together about the very first Doctor Who cancellation crisis, which happened within months of the show beginning in the first place. So it just goes to show that I think for much of its lifespan, Doctor Who has probably been in danger of cancellation. After all, let us know what you think when you watch those. There's more live streams. Of course, there is our early edition, which we put out on a Monday from 8 p.m. You can catch up on those. There's our new Who reactions too. So these are happening on Saturdays while the new episodes are airing. So you can watch along with us or catch up later after you put yourself through the new episodes on the iPlayer or on Disney Plus. You can get a double bill and come and listen to us ramble on too. And there's the Type 40 podcast, of course, across all major podcatchers and our home feed at type40.podbean.com. Well, people are joining with more predictions in the live chat, including Lee Smith. Predictions for 2026 will be a short show. Oh, year of little faith. Year of little faith, Lee. Okay, we have lots to talk about. Some more speculation. Focus on one story in particular. You know the one? Yep. No.
Blink.
Not that one. Not that one. Something far, far scarier. No, not that one. Not that one either. Make sure you've got a drink and some biscuits to hand because things are going to get repetitive. When don't they? Same old jokes after 4.5 years here at Type 40 Live. Okay, where should we go next? I think we'll have a word with him.
Now, I suggest you start watching Type 40 because I can't. I've got to watch this little blighter. The job for... I'll have less of that from you, thank you very much. Know your place.
Know your place.
Look, if I have to run up a flight of stairs, you come and find me.
I'll be in the lift.
That's going to the bottom of the floor then. Keep
Perfect.
watching Type 40. There's good chaps.
Thank you, Scott. So Doctor Who's had a week submerged in negativity, albeit with a small n, I think. The publicity machine is, I think, kind of letting it down a little. It doesn't seem to be getting out of third gear at all, and that's not really helping, is it? Things got two-dimensional at the weekend, which was quite interesting. Then things got really wild, didn't they? But everybody was smiling at the end, sort of. Well, everybody but the viewers, who were sort of scratching their heads and wondering what the hell was happening. Fortunately, is it fortunately? I don't know, but there's another one coming in quick succession. Another one written by Russell T Davies as well, but this time he's co-writing it. He doesn't do this very often, co-writing with another person. And the writer in question is this lady. This is Sharma Angel Walfall. And so this is her first writing credit on Doctor Who. In 2015, so 10 years ago, she won a Channel 4 Writing for Television Award, whatever that is. And that got her a writing gig on Hollyoaks. Other than that, her highest profile work is 2 episodes of the Sky comedy drama Funland, which stars our own Freema Agyeman alongside Lily Allen, and that's Sheila Reid there from Vengeance on Varos on the right as well. This is created by Sharon Horgan. So I don't know, they must have jobbing writers come in and out of it. Who knows? Her other work, Sharma's other work, is a show called Renegade Nell, Noughts and Crosses, and Supercell. All of these were dramas, but she's not actually a writer on any of those. She's just listed on her credits as being in the writer's room. I mean, I've been in a lot of rooms in my time. What was she doing in this room? If she was dusting or making the tea or something, what was she doing in this room? So not a huge list of credits, which is ringing alarm bells for me, taking me back a little to the Chris Chibnall era. She's also an actress. She's been in Coronation Street in 2018, but there's so few credits here to this woman's name, and it can't help but make me fear the worst, I'm afraid, for the episode that's coming in just a couple of days' time. It's, of course, Russell T Davies is there with her. He must believe in her. Otherwise, he would never have made a co-writer. He doesn't co-write with people very often. I think Phil Ford, he did a couple with him, didn't he? Mm-hmm. And Gareth Roberts. But to make her the co-writer on The Well, when they've only got 8 episodes to play with, this is a big swing, I feel. Should we be worried? Anybody worried about this?
No.
What's your instinct, Luke? You've got every faith in the new talent that they could be bringing through?
Well, my mate works on it, doesn't he? My mate worked on everything since the specials. So,
okay.
So he's told me which episodes to look out for and which ones are the best. And he said of this season, he said 3 and 4 are the best episodes to watch.
From the snippets we've seen so far in the trailers, these look like the most dramatic, shall we say?
Have you noticed as well that timer turns to midnight halfway through, as the thing is either open and closing, the timer closes to midnight. But yeah, no, I think my mate's a big fan as well, and he's worked on it. He's worked on it since David Tennant come back, and he said he's a classic fan. He's a new fan, and he said these 2 episodes are better than anything we've had very, very recently. So
next week's is the Peak McT one, so I'm actually not that worried about that one, and it's also a Dr. Light one, so that's probably going to be the best one. Perfect. Maybe this one is Sharma had a really good concept, but maybe RTD had to do that many not rewrites, but like edits where you get in that awkward position where it's, are you just helping a little bit, or are you actually having to put a writer's credit on there? But again, with the tripe Russell's been putting out, maybe this is a good thing, and maybe Luke's right. We'll see.
Well,
Playing devil's advocate, Charlotte, I think it's a good thing that senior creatives mentor younger ones. But here's a woman she's not got many credits to her name, but she's actually been a writer for 10 years. So how much mentorship does someone need, and for how long?
I think, like you said, the last era had a lot of episodes where you watched them, and even if you hadn't kept track of like the media, it felt like they were unexperienced people writing them. You could feel it. They felt really clunky and this is what I believe, and I've always believed this. TV writing isn't something you can just switch to if you've done other formats. They've done poems, or they've done plays, or they've done this and that, and then they get given a TV credit. Yes, you're a writer technically, but you have to change the styles are different. You have to have TV audience in mind versus your play audience.
I mean, look at In the Forest of the Night, when we all saw that was written by, we thought, oh, this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
But it
it's
didn't
not
make the transition.
Frank
you
Cottrell
can't-
Boyce, an award-winning writer of decades standing.
Yeah, and it's a skill to transfer. Like sometimes you can do it. Like you can have these authors who are either like novel or other formats and just naturally take to TV. And here's the thing, I think it's positive that she's not got the whole episode to herself just because of the experience angle. I think it's a good move that Russell, in a sense, is at least we've got some experience and her doing the episode together. So in an ideal world, that would balance it out. But my sort of worry is more Russell, for me, this series, even though in parts, in aspects, I think, yeah, it's been better writing. But whenever I'm starting to get into an episode, I feel like, especially this run, there's something Russell does that just takes me out, or there's some stupid sort of, God, that character was written weak, or a stereotype, or for
Charlotte,
me,
it's as if it's as if Russell himself now is getting bored with just writing Doctor Who. He's almost
Yeah,
got to try and reinvent the wheel somehow, and that's what's tripping him up, I feel.
yeah, I feel I've sort of said to a couple of people who I've chatted with, it feels like Russell's sabotaging his own stories. Like he'll put something in which doesn't need to be there, which is just going to either annoy or try and push an angle or a message. And that's the last thing he should be doing with the current state the show's in. So because she's on paper not got a lot of experience, I can't see her being able to stop Russell's bad tendencies, Russell's weaknesses, which are clearly now on show, I feel. And as we're going to get into, this is a rumoured sequel to probably one of the best
we'll come to that. We'll come to that in a little while. I mean, the thing is, the difference, I suppose, could be, Chris Chibnall spoke very publicly after the fact, after his era, that what he'd done with his inexperienced writers was largely abandon them and put through what were little more than first drafts through to the screen. It's incredibly reckless and unprofessional, in my opinion. I can't imagine. I don't know why he did that, and I'm staggered that a man, even with the career that Chris Chibnall's had, Born and Bred, Broadchurch, all these various shows, I can't believe that he admitted to doing it or did it in the first place, Gary. So there's no way Russell's going to do that. Is that, or is there no limit to what Russell could do in 2025? And I'm kidding myself.
No, I was thinking the exact same thing as you were saying it. It's like, why would you even admit to something that's so unprofessional unless, you know, he just got so overwhelmed by the unrelenting machine that is the production of this show that in order to get through it, it's just like, you know, pass on the scripts. For this one, I'm wondering whether I noticed that when you were going through her CV that she doesn't have any experience writing science fiction, which is a pretty particular skill to make work well. And I'm wondering, I mean, no way to know it now, whether she came up with a concept or a script. And I'm wondering if without being specific, if this episode turns out to be what it's rumored to be in terms of a sequel, that maybe her concept was taken and kind of morphed by Russell into a follow-up to one of his own stories. And
these are the things that we only find out
years
a lot later in the day, aren't they?
Right.
Obviously, this is the next in this season of Doctor Who, streaming on iPlayer and on Disney Plus from 8 in the morning on Saturday, and broadcast later on that same day in its traditional Saturday evening slots. It's 7:20 this time, so they're nudging it around here and there all the time, aren't they? So messing with it a little more than I feel is wise. But this is The Wells. It's coming this weekend. Let's take a quick look at what's coming our way.
This whole world is lifeless and dead.
They all went mad. I saw something.
There's nothing there.
It's an empty room.
Get back!
Short and sweet. You could say that it's much of a muchness. Lights down low, spacesuits, big holes, pretty girls in distress. It doesn't look like anything that's going to rock Doctor Who's foundations as such. But then again, after going meta one week and serving up a highly contentious sort of cocktail of sci-fi and ideology week one, maybe something a bit more back to basics is just what we need. It's, again, I can always say this, is it just too little too late. 7:20 on Saturday for this one. I mean, how much can you tell from something like that? They're deliberately showing us very, very little. I suppose they don't want to spoil any of it. But Russell has been talking to the Radio Times. You know, this was a couple of weeks ago. He's previewed things just a little in this. So what he's been doing, Sarah, is taking us through each episode from the very start of the season and priming us, I suppose, really, in a way that he views is non-spoilerish. So I've been getting into these, and about this episode, he says it's 500,000 years in the future, an empty planet, a colony base, which lost contact 15 days ago. All of this sounds like stuff we've seen before, doesn't it? And that's it. Yeah. That's all I'm saying, he says. Sometimes there's so much PR and publicity, these episodes wear thin. And that's my fault too. I love blabbing about them. That's a rare moment of introspection from Russell T Davies, because he does. He's blown his own story several times, hasn't he? But sometimes it's good to keep an episode quiet so you can come to it unprepared. And believe me, nothing could prepare you. Here we go.
Here we go.
Nothing could prepare you for the terror that's about to be unleashed on the worst day of the Doctor's life.
Well, he's got to wear trousers for the entire episode.
You get the picture. It's.
He starts out by saying, and that's it, that's all I'm saying, and then proceeds to give about another 150 words on it.
So he's saying something, but saying nothing. The thing is, he's saying more of the stuff, which I don't think he realizes. He's saying more of the stuff that's, just as you say, Charlotte, that's kind of tripping him up in the long run.
But the problem is, and Russell, it's like he can't just say, oh, I like the episode, or I think it's good. He has to say, no, it's the scariest thing ever. It's the best thing I've written. Like he can't just do like a mid-ground like compliment to himself. It's always up here. No, and here's the thing. I actually do think not having a lot of story spoilers or leaks, because I've hardly seen any leaks for this thing, actually. Having it as much mystery as you can nowadays is probably the best play they can have right now for this. And I think there's a chance that this episode might actually get some viewers up for once, because I think there's an intrigue factor here a little bit at play. And I think it's sort of just, the trailers have been very sort of stark, like you said, hardly giving anything away. Whereas the other two, you sort of were like, oh, there's robots in the first one. It's Belinda's first story. The second one, you were like, oh, it's the animation one.
Well, if they've been putting enough trailers out, because again, they keep trying to reinvent the wheel with this, but if they keep putting enough trailers out here and there, tapping in to the kind of chills that people remember and associate with Doctor Who, then hopefully some of the normies might feel like it's safe to look. And, oh, I remember how that made me feel, how the one with the giant maggots, the one with the guy with the tattoos all over his face, the one with, to tap back into that. But the distance between Doctor Who and its mainstream audience, it's accelerating so much that this has really got. If anybody is brought round by that, it really has to deliver, and just put people behind the sofa again. I think that's all that people really want, isn't it, Sarah? Whether no matter what you feel about the Doctor himself, whether you're currently in or currently out, that's the baseline setting for what the British public wanted this show. I think.
It should be. It should be scary. It should be scaring the kids, and the adults are sat there enjoying the thrill of seeing the children scared. That's what I enjoyed when my kids watched it, and it looks fine. If they, I don't see how we can mess it up, but something's just telling me there will. there's most likely going to be something. But yeah, you know, the setting, it's dark, it's basic. Shooty's not wearing anything stupid. If you can do serious, and I've been told by Charlotte and others that Boom last year was the best performance episode of Shooty because he wasn't being dancing around and being
I
how he
don't agree with
normally is.
that.
So, I didn't watch it, so but yeah, if you can calm down and just place. I don't think he can, but I think this is probably the closest we're going to get.
He is better. See, in my view, he overacted in Boom because he was out of his depth with material that was very high concept and asked a lot of him. And I think he really struggled and was simply, in my view, he's out of his depth. But he is far, far better when he's got less to say and less space to run around as well. I think it reins him in. He's also far, far better opposite this actress as well. I don't know what it is, whether the connection is just, if they've just worked a little harder at it. I don't know. Obviously, we're not in the room, are we? But it has melded in the way that you'd want it to. But again, it could be too little. Too late. They're in space, but it's not the orange spacesuit. It would have been nice to see him in that again, Luke. As every incarnation of the Doctor since Tennant worn that old orange spacesuit.
Yeah, I think so, and I think they've said now, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's retired with Shuey." But no, I agree. I think, I mean, I could tell you why his chemistry is better with Verada Sutha, but not on here. But I can tell you why. But no, I think he is better, and I think Russell's writing has improved this season. I thought Robot Revolution was better. I thought the way he handled like the racism out in America in the 50s as well. I thought they covered that very, very, very well, and I thought they didn't gloss over it, but they didn't spend so much of the episode on it. And I think
lightness of touch.
Yeah, I thought they dealt with it very, very well. I think obviously. This one, I know she's a new up and coming writer, but if you look at like some of the ones in Chibnall's era, which performed well, which is Maxine Alderton's one, which is The Haunting of Villa Dolidelty or whatever it was called, and The Village of Angels. Realistically, she only wrote Emmerdale before Doctor Who, and then you look at Moffat as well, and you look at like Jamie Matheson, who realistically, I think he only wrote a couple of episodes of Being Human and My Parents Are Aliens, and then he comes out with like Oxygen, Mummy and the Orient Express, and Flatline. And I was like, so those if they were pitched now with the same experience, we'd be having the same conversations about them. But those episodes turned out well. So I think I think this episode will turn out great. I think the only input Russell's going to have is plot law, is to do with, you know, the running thread of the vortex indicator maybe coming in. Maybe he's wrote like the first 5 or 10 minutes just to tie it all up. But I think Shooty's a lot better this season. I'm enjoying Shooty. Like, it's a shame this season was his last season, because I think we would be having a completely different conversation about everything if this was. I think they got the series wrong. I think we were all talking about this originally. I think they got the series the wrong way around. If they would have started, if they would have kept Verada Sutha for 2 seasons, had this season first of let's get her home, the unwilling companion, and then by the end they become friends, and then you do season 1 next, where they are friends and they're going out and enjoying it. I think the series are backwards, and I think it's a little bit of a miss, which is a shame.
And I suppose, Luke, that those episodes where the Doctor was barely in it, the 2 Doctor Light ones where he just vanished, if the audience had known the character a little better, then it wouldn't have felt so distancing from. I've harmed the show so much.
Yeah, massively. I mean, that was all down to sex ed going over by a month. That was that issue. Realistically, wow. Sex education went over because that was horrendous. But I think they've got the seasons a little bit confused. I think they just got them the wrong way round. And I think, Verada Sutha, she's a better actor than Shooty. So you can't have your companion overshadowing your Doctor, so he's going to have to raise his game. Millie, she's just come from Coronation Street, fresh on, but Radha Sutha's got pedigree. Like, you know, she's Andor, she's sci-fi royalty essentially at this point. So he's got to up his game, and I think he has as well. Especially the one scene where he's in the cantina or the diner, and he's talking about the TARDIS. He's like, "Oh, did that give you hope and stuff?" I was like, that's the most Doctorish I thought he was, and that was when he's
I thought
not
so
speaking
too.
as much. He's very cool and calculated about it, and I was like, "This is what you want."
I felt that
Sorry, I
he was
ranted
listening. No, I agree. I said similar on Saturday, but I'd only just watched the episode. So, but I felt like he was actually listening to the other person. He was part of a conversation. Obviously, it's taken 10 episodes to get there, but it really did feel like he was in the moment and inhabiting the character, even if it was sort of in fits and starts. I think he was doing it consistently then, in a way that I haven't seen him do before, and I think most of us have been willing this actor to success. Robert Payne says here they couldn't have done it in the first season because the storyline was all about Ruby Sunday. Now, I think that
you
could
just
sort of
change the
flip it-
storyline, but just flip them. But you could have flipped it and then tweaked it. But yeah, it made more sense to have this one as season 1 as the unwilling companion, and then season 2 as oh look, they're best friends now. So I think they just got them the wrong way around.
And I said this for, I think what I've enjoyed about Belinda is she's had to sort of adjust in these opening episodes. Like, she doesn't take stuff as instantly, oh, I can do it. Like, it felt like at times Ruby was very quick to sort of adapt to the bonkersness and the sort of the out there-ness and the weirdness of the Doctor's world. And she was sort of just took it like a duck to water a bit too quickly. And what I've liked in these opening 2 is that she's had moments of like getting stuff a bit wrong or getting a little bit ahead of herself or being like, no, that can't be real. Like, I like that as on screen. It makes it more interesting for me.
Characters who've got flaws and foibles. It's all about getting her home, of course. This is episode 3 of season 2 of all new Doctor Who, continuing on Saturday. But yeah, this rumor has been circling for a while, and this is the one that's getting long-term fans kind of quaking a little in their boots. I'm never sure how seriously to take it when we get rumors like this, that this episode could be some sort of sequel or prequel or in some way be set parallel to the classic 2008 story Midnight. I think it's okay to call the best of the 2000 series classic now. I think it's 20 years. It's more than fine. I'm not sure where rumors like this come from, because it does seem to be quite a tight ship at the moment. They're not letting much slip. So I'm not sure how seriously to take this. But when you hear stories like this, when you hear accounts like this, that they could be sequeling a much-loved story, it does make you nervous, doesn't it, Sarah? Even if you're not going to watch it or not, you think, well, is it George Lucas going back to Star Wars? Was that wise? Russell T Davies coming back to Doctor Who at all? Was that wise? Something like this, the way that he brought the Doctor and Donna back together for those specials, arguably with mixed at best results. So here, just the notion that you could be sequeling something from all those years ago that everybody loved. Do you think, oh, is that wise?
Yeah, it did. This rumour does fill me with horror, I've got to say. It probably wouldn't have done maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. There was nobody more excited than me that RTD was coming back with David Tennant and Catherine Tate. And he's completely destroyed that beautiful character development and the most heartbreaking conclusion to series 4, which I will never forgive him for. So the fact that he's coming back to even just come close to being like Midnight, I just don't think he can. He is not the same writer. We've all said this. But it's interesting that people have kind of zoned in on Midnight, because reading that little preview, and I'm starting to think, is it actually Waters of Mars? Because there were a couple of little...
Or the Satan Pit, or this, or that. It actually could be one of a number of stories when you look at what's in that preview.
I was looking at like the colony and the well, and but yeah, obviously like the Satan pit. I just again, there's this feeling of we've already seen it, Russell. Don't see him. I mean, at least you can say last week he brought something new, something that had not been seen in Doctor Who before. I'm kind of like, is this going to be a rehash of elements of the Satan pit, Waters of Mars and Midnight? It's just not good. It'll be okay if it's competently directed and acted, but it's not going to be particularly exciting. It's not going to be particularly thrilling unless, I suppose, you're new to the show. And the dialogue. I mean, the dialogue in Midnight. We'll get to it. It's just absolutely top notch. One of the things I've heard is not just this season but last season is how badly the dialogue has been in these scripts. And again, I just think, it's a tall order.
Personally, I think the dialogue has been okay, but for the most part.
I was just going to say, if it turns out in this episode, if it's revealed that Shooty was the one knocking on the door of the shuttle, I'm going to lose it. If he ruins it like that.
You had to put that out, didn't you? You had to put it out there in the universe.
I was just thinking, what's one of the worst ways to ruin Midnight? I thought, make literal everything, give literal answers to everything that, the mystery and the uncertainty was why that episode was so good. If it's just about providing answers, then that destroys it.
The sequel might not be to this because
you're right.
You also described the Interstellar Song Contest as the greatest song contest in the galaxy. So maybe we're getting a sequel to the greatest show in the galaxy, and the fans are going to turn out to be the gods of Ragnarok. Who knows? Who knows? So because we are seeing a lot of spoons with the pantheons as well. The spoons always pops up. So and who played the spoons? And that was the Seventh Octave. So who knows? Who knows?
So what we're going to do after the break, we're going to go deep into Midnight. We're going to plunder the darkness and see if we can work out not just with the joys of that particular story and why it makes us feel the way that it does, but where it could possibly go that's worth going to. You could say that no movie ever really needs a sequel. No TV show episode ever really needs a sequel. But I think that's the kind of boring way to look at it. We've all enjoyed sequels here and there. There have been some good ones. And in Doctor Who terms as well. I mean, there's several Doctor Who stories which I believe are sequels to other stories which, in my view, eclipse the original. But the problem is not many of them have come 18 years afterwards.
Yes.
So this is The Well by Russell T. Davies, and let's get the lady's name right because I don't like mispronouncing. Sharma Angel Walfall. So that's coming this Saturday, 7:20 on BBC One there. And if you're up early, you don't mind watching Doctor Who over your breakfast, you can watch it from 8 a.m. on the BBC iPlayer or Disney Plus internationally. Yeah, let's slope off for a bake. You can bake on the break, if you like, while we shuffle back through time to get ourselves in the mood, particularly to talk about Midnight. We're going all the way back to 2008 itself for the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. See how many of these classic ads you remember, and which Doctor Who personalities you can spot for here.
What do women dream of when colouring?
Colour's so natural you just can't go wrong.
Garnier Bell Colour with the Hober and Wheat Gem oils has a unique multi-tonal formula that covers greys perfectly with natural-looking highs and lows.
It looks so natural, so right.
Garnier Bell Colour. Colour's so natural you just can't go wrong.
Take care.
Garnier.
People take pictures of the summer just in case someone thought they had missed it, and to prove that it really existed.
megapixel C902 Cybershot phone from Sony Ericsson.
Many Chinese believe the number 8 brings prosperity. That's why in Hong Kong, people will pay millions of dollars for a number plate. At HSBC, we also believe that we can bring you prosperity by offering you a special rate of 8% credit interest with Bank Account Plus. Great rates from HSBC, the world's local bank.
The Argos end of catalogue sale is now on. Don't miss out on hundreds of great summer bargains. Right now, save a third on this Challenge Extreme 1200 watt electric mower, now under £40. Plus, get this Rally 26-inch mountain bike for half price, now under £100. And you can reserve your bargains online. Don't shop for it, Argos it.
No. There are a lot of upsides to being in a relationship. Lots of little perks you might not have realised you were going to get.
With BT, you can enjoy free UK evening and weekend calls for as long as you stick with us.
Yeah, no, I thought that as well.
Call now to get your free calls.
Wendy, what are you up to now?
Wendy Richard, human cannonball.
Is that not a bit dangerous?
No, not at all. I've always done my own stunts.
Well, what can we do for you, Wendy?
I'm in need of some life insurance.
You've come to the right place.
We've a fantastic scheme for the over 50s. Plans start at only £7 a month.
No medicals required and acceptance is guaranteed.
I'll give it a try.
Great, you just fill in the form. Wendy.
The People's Over 50s Life Cover at the People's Post Office, now with £50 cashback.
Hey, welcome back to your Type 40 Live, covering the future, the present, and the past of all things Doctor Who, which all seem to be kind of wrapped up with one another more than ever. Did you hear them? Did you spot them? No, not that, not yet. Anyway, I'm talking about them, Doctor Who voices and sort of faces. They were there, weren't they, in the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break, including this one. Oh, two. Yes, so the human cannonball there at the very tail end was, of course, the late, great, the much missed Wendy Richard of EastEnders and Dimensions in Time fame there. I've forgotten how much I miss seeing Wendy on the telly, Sarah, you know?
Oh, yeah, she was lovely. I'll always know her as Pauline mainly. And, oh, God.
Miss Brahms and Are You Being Served was the one for me when I was a kid. Yeah. She died in 2009, so just a year after that commercial was made. But here she is, looking far older when made up for Dimensions in Time with her old friend John Pertwee. Did you hear who was the voice of the first commercial there as well? Anybody? Did you recognise that first voice?
Not the first. I recognised another voice, but not the first.
Who did you recognise, Charlotte?
I recognised Michael Gambon because Harry Potter fan. So I recognise that voice.
Yeah, Gambon was there doing the HSBC advert. But the first advert there, the shampoo thing, that was Sean Pertwee, believe it or not, that was doing it.
Oh, okay.
Doctor Who connections here and there. I like the mobile phone ad as well. That was just when picture phones were sort of coming in. The idea we could send one another pictures and the novelty value of it. Gary could throw these pictures from one place to another.
You know, every week, all I can think of is that you have so many more interesting commercials than we do over here. Ours aren't nearly that fun to watch.
Those are so boring. Now,
really? No, I think they're a lot better.
Oh, they're not. Well, they were then.
Oh, okay.
All the old ones are good. Yeah. Memories. Yes, we've got more comments here in the live chat from. So get stuck in, everybody. We can help one another through, as always here. So, yeah, we're looking ahead to a brand new episode of Doctor Who that's coming this weekend. Just 2 days' time. They come in that quick succession. And the season will be over before we know it, won't we? But this coming Saturday, we're assured by Russell T Davies we're going to be chilled and thrilled. He's the co-writer this time of The Well. That's very much Russell T Davies all over there, isn't it? To thrill and to chill us. Thing is, of course, Russell isn't the man or the writer that he used to be, is he? And back then, in 2008, they were bringing TV to the screen, I think, on a weekly basis that was keeping the whole nation talking, led by Russell and a set of sometimes returning writers, hand-picked writers. There was more content, and yet the momentum of it, nobody seemed remotely disappointed by it, and yet now it seems so much more precarious. So much more precarious, doesn't it? Of course, now in 2025, we're used to seeing the Doctor losing it on a weekly basis, reduced to a gibbering wreck, really. But in the noughties, it happened very, very sparingly, and I think most memorably in Midnight, with David Tennant's first stint, much longer stint as the Doctor. And I think that seeing him now, David Tennant, I've always liked his Doctor. I wouldn't rave about it, but I think in moments like this, you really see what a great actor that he can be, really selling that. And of course, he was like 3 seasons in, he was the nation's hero, really. And think, well, okay, it's like when John Pertwee's third Doctor was scared. If this Doctor in particular is scared, then there must really be something to be scared about. So rumours have been growing that the Well would be a sequel to Midnight, but that story is so contained and so specific and so special. Where could a sequel possibly go? So in an attempt to get some clues about that, we've all headed back to Midnight, the 10th episode of Series 4 from 2008. Here's a trailer to remind you, if you haven't seen it for a while, this is how they used to chill and thrill way back then.
Sapphire waterfall. It's a waterfall made of sapphires.
I bet you say that to all the girls.
All right, I give up. See you later.
Oi! And you be careful, all right?
Taking a big space truck with a bunch of strangers across a diamond planet called Midnight? What could possibly go wrong?
Ladies and gentlemen, and variations thereupon, welcome on board the Crusader 50. We'll be leaving any moment. Midnight has no air, so please don't touch the exterior door seals.
There's no life in this entire system. There couldn't be. Here we are now, crossing Midnight, but never touching it.
Everything's fine.
It's trying the door!
There is
Stop.
Oh, thank God for that!
But what if it's not outside anymore? What if it's inside?
Inside where?
It was heading for her.
My name's the Doctor.
My name's the Doctor.
Okay, can you stop?
Okay, can you stop?
Driving me mad.
She's driving me mad.
Just make her stop! Just make her stop! It's gotta be a
Stop her
trick.
staring at me. A trick.
Shut her up!
No, step back. I think you should leave her
alone.
As if she's copying us, then maybe the final stage is becoming us.
What do you think? Do we have a deal?
She spoke first.
Ooh. Even that was sort of chilling, wasn't it? This was first screened on the 14th of June, 2008, nearly 17 years ago. Sarah, do you remember it airing for the first time?
I do indeed. Yeah, there was a bit of fuss about it, and I think because we'd had the Dr. Light episode before, but we'd not had a companion light episode before. And I seem to remember, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, there was more emphasis on the fact that Catherine Tate wasn't here because they were filming Turn Left at the same time, which is why she wasn't here for a lot of this.
I can remember as well, Sarah, what stood out even in the early previews and trailers was this was so stripped back. It looked like especially at this point, like you said, Tennant was at his height of his sort of power at this point. The show was as big as it ever been. We'd had sort of these really CGI and old monsters, and then suddenly we get it's just one set, and it's one set of characters, and the monster copies. Like, it felt like they on purpose was sort of stripping back, challenging what they can do with less, which was what excited us at the time, I think.
I don't think anybody expected it to be this good, and we'd just come back off that brilliant, Moffat two-parter in the library, to then suddenly be presented with this. I think a lot of fans were quite struck by and the public. I mean, I can remember going to work on the Monday morning, and because this is when Doctor Who, was everybody talked about it. You went to the pub and everyone talked about it, and it were, did you see that? Wow, the actor, David Tennant was praised, Leslie Sharp was praised, and it felt like must see TV. And yeah, all we got was this really small cast in one setting, and this 45 minutes just seemed to just grip the nation. In June, where there was lots of sunshine.
I don't know if you remember, anyone, but we used to have the conversations about the ratings and the weather way back then, and every little sort of alteration to the stat would get debated on Gallifrey Base, and it was always the end of the world every week. Even then, even when the show was at the height of its popularity. It's funny, isn't it? But yeah, you're quite right. Everybody was talking about it, and this combination of characters was, I suppose, the latest. All three of them I thought were pretty successful, but this one, I'm not even a huge Catherine Tate or Donna Noble fan, but my God, did people love this pairing. And separating them in the way that this episode and Turn Left do seemed like a bolder move than it needed to take. But I watched this knowing that a sequel could be on the way. I hadn't seen it for a long time, and I'd forgotten how intense it was. I'd forgotten how fond of both of the characters I was and still am. And yeah, I was happy to say that I enjoyed it, that this was just as good. All of it, the production values, the acting, the way it makes you feel, it was just as good as I remembered, Charlotte.
Yeah, and I think when I watched it, again, obviously when I watched this, I was still quite young. And now I can see the complexity of the plot here, of the ideas in this, how actually you have to be a bit older. I think, honestly, you need to watch this in your 20s or your 30s if you watched it when you were a kid, because you're not going to understand the whole... What Midnight does brilliantly, it's this slow burn in a sense, but not in the best way. It's this pressure cooker, that's probably the better term, of a group of people getting paranoid, unraveling, turning against each other, and those sort of concepts, which are quite hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And here you see all the stages, and it's done so brilliantly. And like I said, that idea of how do us as humans work under these situations? When we're presented with the unknown and it's dangerous and it's affecting us, we're not actually good people majority of the time. That's what also I think's brave about this story. Nobody's a hero, except for maybe the woman at the end. But pretty much it says we're very quick to get to blame people, to turn on people, to say, oh, it's your fault, and to sort of sacrifice.
The idea with it was Russell's idea, his concept was that he felt that he'd showed the very best of human nature in Voyage of the Damned, the Christmas special, which I think was the year before. And with this, he wanted to kind of flex his muscles a little bit, or to just dive into some other areas whereby he would show the flip side, and I suppose pull the curtain back more so on how, on that other side of human nature, how bad we can be, the things that we could think of doing to one another in moments such as this. It's like 6 or 7 people in the cast. There's a couple of pilots who don't really say. They get a couple of scenes, but it is so contained. I think in the interim, in the time in between, Luke, 17 years, Doctor Who, and it's been off and on for sometimes gap years or whatever. But I think I'd forgotten how much bigger it's got. If Doctor Who was to do a bottle episode like this now, I think that the sets would probably still be quite extravagant, and it would still be higher concept in some way. But this looks now, with the 17 years hindsight, looks like really cheap and cheerful TV. It doesn't look that different from the classic show. And so, but it does have this kind of epic feel to it, which I suppose, with hindsight, that's probably the best balance to strike. And I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world if the budget got cut again and they went back to making stuff like this.
Yeah, well, that's what Russell said, didn't he? He said, if the Disney money dries up, then we'll have to go back to making ghost stories and stuff. And this is great. And this, he said if the Disney budget gets cut, we'll just make ghost stories every week. And it's like, oh, cool. Well, that definitely works then, because you did it for midnight. I'm probably in the same camp as Charlotte, where I thought you need to be a little bit older to watch it, because realistically, I was just turned 12 when this came out, and I didn't. I was like, cool, whatever. I'm more case of Daleks, Cybermen. I'm that. Now, I was just saying with Father's Day as well. Father's Day, I didn't enjoy that until I was older and I can appreciate it more. So, and this one was the same. I was older, I appreciated it more. But I think the bottle episode it's a fantastic episode, and obviously it's been adapted to a stage play as well, I believe, which they've done. Okay. I guess the closest you're going to get to this is probably Heaven Sent, and that was a lot bigger, a lot more sprawling. I think that's the closest you're probably going to get to a midnight is Heaven Sent. But yeah, I think if Doctor Who went back to this, I don't think it could survive realistically. If Doctor Who went back to this every week, I think you do need the variety. So I think it's all well and good. Everyone's like, oh, you should be going back to the way midnight was, and I don't. You get bored of it instantly. You want the comedy, you want the drama, you want the mix, you want the two-parters. I don't think it could survive in this form. It's nice to have it every now and again, which I get, like Base Under Siege is like how far has it been since we had the Base Under Siege? I guess Space Babies to a degree. I
always used to say, Luke, that each season of Doctor Who was always bigger than the sum of its parts. And I think that was, and I don't feel like that about the current shows. And to be honest, I haven't felt it about, I think it kind of lost that during the Capaldi era somehow, when Moffat got a bit too experimental. But here with this, it's like all of it. They're all, even when they're isolated stories, because of the contrast, it makes it collectively, any 13 episodes, feel like you've had like a meal or something, Gary. There's been course after course after course after, and they're all, most of them are quite distinctive, even though he revisits like the tones and some of the themes throughout the entire 4 seasons, the original Russell T Davies run. Each one is a kind of development or extension of the one that came before. But by making this so small and so kind of, after what you've both said, because obviously you've both been so young when this was on, is this, Gary, do you think this is actually adult and serious drama, and that if it was set maybe on a passenger aeroplane, 747, then they would put this on after the Watershed?
Yeah, I don't even know that I would qualify this like the rest of Doctor Who. We call Doctor Who like family viewing, because this is one of the most intense episodes of this entire era. I rewatched it last night and I just was bowled over about how incredibly effective that it is for being so self-contained. You couldn't have had Donna in this situation, because this story relied on the Doctor not having any allies there with him. So they had to remove her from the chessboard. And I think that it was also great, and this almost had to come kind of toward the tail end of Tennant's era, because it's taken everything which has worked for him and which a lot of the 10th Doctor fans like, the fact that he can come in and basically kind of like, instantly command the room. He's the smartest person in the room. He's like a know-it-all. He likes people, but can kind of be dismissive sometimes.
See, and this episode,
all of those
even
are turned
overturns
against
that.
him. All
Yeah.
of those are turned against him this time and become disadvantages rather than advantages. And so I think a story like this had to come toward the tail end of his run once we've gotten kind of comfy, cozy with his persona, and then we're made to realize how easily that could flip.
It has to be one of the most sophisticated takes on the Doctor ever, all 60 odd years ever. And what also surprised me about this, Sarah, is that, okay, it's on for about 45 minutes, something like that. Despite its intensity and how minimal it is, so few actors, one set, all that kind of thing, the 45 minutes went like that, like a snap of the fingers, like that. And not, whereas I'm used to modern drama really dragging, not just modern Doctor Who, modern drama. I can't think of the last time I watched an episode of anything, even the stuff I'm really enjoying. I'm really enjoying Reacher season 3 at the moment, but it hasn't. There's been a little where I've thought, oh, come on, is this really still on? This just went in a flash, and I could have stood another 10 or 15 minutes of it easy.
Yeah. Again, it just shows you how good everybody was. Everybody was at the top of the game at this point. It was a well-oiled machine. The actors, the scripts, the direction, which is fantastic. The sound design. I mean, I think they won several awards just for the sound design, and you can understand why, because that needed to sound amazing. And yeah, I think a lot what you were saying about the modern drama thing. I think it's with this streaming thing, because you haven't got to. You can basically have an episode as long as you want, and sometimes that has its advantage. But I think in a lot of cases, I think it's just giving them, an excuse to be a bit lazy with the editing, and allowing things in to drag and not taking that care. I think when you've got this set limit, you've got to get it down that much. I just think it gives you that focus. But yeah, I was rather tentative about viewing this because I've not watched a 10 episode since The Giggle, because I was that upset after the 60th. And I thought, how am I going to be, watching this? And I was like you, Dan. I was just sucked back in. It kind of like. I suppose it is nostalgia now, isn't it? I had the wave of nostalgia wash over me. I was gripped from the start, and I enjoyed it to the point where I was actually quite emotional afterwards, because it's an intense episode. But I was like, "Oh, that's the Doctor and the Donna that I remember."
I'd forgotten how good David Tennant could be.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten how nicely written it all was. The hostess doesn't even get a name. And we go, that character travels, and she probably gets less dialogue than everybody, Charlotte, and yet that character travels a considerable distance. But we first meet her, she's all smiles, the way that they are in those sort of jobs, and just in little lines here and there, we find the little things that pass through her mind, and then ultimately at the end, it's her that makes a call and takes physical action. But it is, Stephen in the live chat here says the thing about Midnight is it forces you to think afterwards, would I have acted like that? That's adult, isn't it? That's not necessarily where Doctor Who goes.
Yeah, and what I think so good is all the passengers, they're all people from different walks of life. They're all different types of people. They're all different setup. You've got a family setup there. You've got a professor and their assistant. You've got then you've got the Leslie character before she gets possessed. She's sort of by herself. And it's sort of highlighting all these different walks of life coming together. It's what I love about it. And the fact that, actually, if you look back, all those characters probably individually don't get a lot of lines, technically. And then if you probably got the script and highlighted it and looked at each of those characters, they probably don't get 10 ton of lines. But because they had brilliant actors in each of those parts, both old and young, like the proper gamut there of, like, you've got we've got Patrick Troughton's son. Like we've got somebody of him who's that storied, and then you've got somebody like Colin Morgan who was just starting to sort of start his career with Merlin, and he was just starting to sort of get big. But all those actors, you care for different reasons for each of their characters. Because I can remember the one that stuck with me was the son was Jeffro, I think he was called.
Yeah. Well
And
done.
it was-
Well done.
Yeah. And I'm amazed I've actually remembered that. Proves I've remembered the name. Like, these characters stick with you. And it was the bit
Yeah,
when
back then in 2008, Charlotte, that stuck with me as well, because in 2008, nobody under 60 was called Jethro.
Yeah, that's true. But it was that moment when he'd sort of been a bit on the Doctor's side. He'd sort of been one of the more ones to trust him. And that bit, and it's acted beautifully by Colin, when he starts to say, "But Doctor, you said human," and he starts that whole thing off. I think of them thinking about how he'd talked to them about them being humans, and he was above them almost. And it was the fact that it was his character that pointed that out. I remember just thinking, "Oh God, not you, Jethro! Please, don't you?"
In fact, Jethro and his mum, which is
Yeah.
it's Lindsay Coulson, isn't it?
I love her. Fabulous actor.
I love, their development, because she's so dismissive of him.
Yeah.
Throughout the episode until at the end, where she's actually practically begging him to justify. You agree with me, Jeffrey? You need to tell me that I'm making the right decision.
Yes.
And it's just, I just think it's brilliant.
Doesn't she push? And because it's him and the dad that drag the Doctor, so like she's pushing him as well to be the dragger.
His parents, I'm sorry, are the two worst humans in the universe. I mean, you think about like horrible examples of humanity. It's like I think of those two characters.
Yeah.
I do wonder how he turned out. Colin Morgan, he turned out okay. The following year, he was Merlin, wasn't he, for about 4 or 5 years on the BBC, and this hugely popular. Well, it's popular now. I think it's more popular now than when it was on. A long stint in that show. He still turns up in things now. I think he's pushing 40 now. He was only 21 when he did this, and his name often turns up when people are speculating about who could be the next Doctor. It's a fun show, that is. I want to go back to it. And you mentioned David Troughton as well, his third appearance on screen in Doctor Who. He got this gig after the actor Sam Kelly from Hello Hello. Do you remember Sam Kelly? Sam Kelly. Yeah. Sam Kelly was going to play this part. He broke his leg not long before it was about to be made, and David Troughton stepped in. Originally, of course, he was in the War Games when he was only 19, and then a few years later, he was back as King Peladon, wasn't he, in The Curse of Peladon, and this fabulous performance here as Professor Hobbs. You wouldn't think he'd stepped into this role pretty much at the last minute. He's superb, as you would expect from David Troughton. He's always superb.
I loved about his characters, like we know he's arrogant, the way he treats his assistant, very Nightmare of Eden, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing, like, no matter how intelligent you are, when you're forced into like this kind of like Lord of the Flies situation, you end up going along with the pack, and because he's another one who ends up dragging the Doctor away, and all that intelligence just melts away, and the fear, it is absolutely so fascinating watching it play out.
Because it's not particularly complicated in that there's lots of cuts between different. So it's not timey-wimey at all. It's very linear. It's a set of characters. So you could say, well, not that much happens, but because there's so much character building within that time, it's just delicious. Every minute of this is fantastic. I hadn't misremembered this at all, is how I feel about it.
I didn't know, Dan, until you said it, that Sam Kelly was up for the part of the Professor. He'd have been. David Troughton was really, really good in this, but Sam Kelly would have been terrific too.
Even the part of Dee Blasco, his assistant, even she was, and usually she'd be like, yes sir, no sir, fetching and carrying, and just being the dutiful, kind of like Mags is in Greatest Show in the Galaxy, and yet we get under her skin as well. There's a darker side to her. Yeah. This kind of mousy character, nicer than nice. She seems like the world's oldest girl guide. And even her, it's so well put together, this episode.
And one thing I would just wanted to say is that what's good about the flow of this episode is everything comes in waves. It's like you can tell there's at one point they're almost all with the Doctor, and somebody will say like one thing, and then immediately it'll go out again. They're all against him, and then it'll keep going, back and forth like that. So, as a viewer, we can't get too complacent because things are just turning in an instant throughout this whole story.
And what's good is, to what you're saying, Gary, stuff that like happened at the beginning, they then bring up as like almost evidence against him. Like, you were sat next to her, you spoke to her before we did. Like, it's such. That's what I mean. I've always thought of this episode. It's almost a study. Like, it's a study of human nature in the best way. And it's how our brains can then, when it suits us, use bits of information to then discredit somebody. And it's that sort of mentality.
In Doctor Who, I feel, Luke, that more often than not, it's very easy to work out who the good guys and the bad guys are. Usually the bad guys are the ones that are shaped like a pepper pot, shouting "exterminate, exterminate." Usually that's a good giveaway, isn't it? That, but in here we do get that sort of flipping things around. We don't see a darker side to the Doctor as such, but I think we do wonder. Well, they say you take a lot of glee in all of this. You think, well, is that a good thing? It's insensitive, I suppose. Is it harmless? That kind of insensitivity probably is, but it's still there's still effects of the Doctor being in an environment which you think, well, would I want to be shut in a room with that bloke? Would I really?
Yeah, the episode's more like a gut punch, isn't it? So I think the reflection on to Voyage of the Damned, which he said, is spot on actually, because realistically, you'd be like, if you were in that situation, what would you do? And it is a very adult thing. It's like Doctor Who is a family show at the end of the day. I know people are saying, like, in the comments, oh, it's aimed at 5-year-olds, and realistically, it's aimed at everyone. It's aimed for me, my cousin, my niece, nephew, and everyone. So you do need that variety, and it is a bit of a gut punch, and it is something to capture the older audience there. And I think it's very, very well written. And I think there's Russell. I know this episode come out of a necessity that they were like, oh crap, we got to write something quick. And I think he wrote it in like 2 weeks or something, didn't he? In the writer's tale. And it's like, oh wow, this is you evidently can write. I know his writing has come under flack in the latter years, but when you look at the work before this, if you were going to tell like a casual fan that the writer of Years and Years and It's a Sin is coming to write Doctor Who, and they weren't previous to they'd be like, oh my god, like that was so well received and so well written. And I think if he can pull Midnight out of the bag, it's like, what's wrong? I get he's answering to a lot of execs at the time. He's not the head honcho back then. He's answering to Julie, he's answering to the people above him, but now he seems to have a little bit more control, and it seems to be just being told yes to everything. And it seems to be like there's no one above him that's being like, maybe this is not a good idea. So yeah, I think this is sorry, there's one bit that really annoys me as well in the opening when he's on the phone to Donna and he's like, oh, I'm a planet called Midnight, and there's a green screen there and they didn't green screen it out. It's always annoyed me when he's on the phone. It's like, just even for the iPlayer, even for the Blu-ray re-releases, just fix it. It's like, it's a 2-minute job.
The truth of the matter is that there's a lot of Doctor Who fans who would like Doctor Who to be like this every week and more adult all the time, but it can't be. And I think if it was, the majority of us would actually tire of that, because we'd want some of the light, frothy stuff as well to balance it out, Gary. But when you've got, I mean, even Domgo likes this in the live chat on YouTube. Midnight was the only decent thing Russell T Davies ever wrote.
Well, you're right. I mean, if it was like this every week, it would be Black Mirror. But the thing about at the beginning, when they're watching the professor do his little video show and everything, they're all kind of leaning in, they're all together as a group. And I love the framing at the very last shot of the shuttle where they're all sitting spaced out from each other. They're all distanced from each other now. They're all back to being individuals now, because they're strangers. They're all strangers again. Oh, there they go. The two worst humans on the planet.
Yeah, why didn't they die?
Yeah. I love the fact that they're all sat in silence. You just know
hated her.
Wait 20 minutes it took for the shuttle to come after the event. You can guarantee.
I know so many people just like her, the mother. Just like her.
When she said at the end, "Oh, I always knew it was her. I wanted to chuck her out of the airlock." At the end. Oh,
Leslie Sharp is extraordinary in this, isn't she? As Sky Silvestri. At the time, I think she'd been in several pretty big dramas. She was in Bob and Rose for Russell T Davies, sort of way back with Alan Davies, a fabulous drama from the late 90s, I think that was, maybe the early noughties. And then there was the thing she did with Andrew Lincoln, the supernatural drama.
Yeah,
Afterlife, that was it.
Oh, I love that. That was before Andrew Lincoln got big in America, wasn't it?
Yeah. So she'd been around, seen her in lots of things, but they were always, again, post-watershed stuff. They're usually pretty gritty things. And she would play down-to-earth characters, I suppose. Here we see her as a businesswoman who's escaping a broken relationship. Again, another very adult situation to find oneself in that a lot of people can relate to, adding to the sort of cocktail, I suppose, of the different sides to the reasons why people want to get away or want to go and see the sights. You get the impression that character doesn't really care where she is, whereas for others, they're there scientifically, or they're there to show off, or to keep the kid amused, or something like that. Which again is something that we've probably all done to one degree or another. It's so beautifully observed. This, it's extraordinary that he packed all that characterization into 44 minutes, and any story at all. Yeah, it is just, is it even a bogeyman? Because we never see anything. We get the knock, knock, knock. Russell's got a thing about knocking as well, hasn't he? Done to beautiful effect in this. It has got a lot in common with the Twilight Zone and Outer Limits, that kind of thing. Classic sci-fi anthology storytelling. And I've always thought that Doctor Who is an anthology show, sort of in disguise, in many respects, Gary.
And no, that's great. I mean, not being able to tell what it's going to be week to week keeps things fresh, for the viewers. I was going to say the one episode that's kind of like this, where I kind of got the same sense of unease, was Listen, with Peter Capaldi, where it's like you don't know what force it is that he's fighting.
Yeah, because once upon a time, didn't we think that was kind of like a sequel to Midnight? But it never actually was. It wasn't like because there's knocking, doesn't it knock at the end when he's at that space station thing, wherever he is? He goes to the end of the world. Or end of time or something, I can't remember.
What Russell got so right about the entity is you don't see it. So you do that whole imagination, your trick. We can create horrible stuff in our head. We don't need help in that regard. But what does my head in, and I've seen this more in modern stuff, they go, I just have to not show my creature and it's instantly going to be scary. No, what you also have to do is to have it have a real threat level and a real presence, even though you don't see it. And like you said, that's all done through Leslie Sharp. And it shows that it's nasty, that it's clever, that it's sort of otherworld, like it's powerful, it's otherworldly. You get all these sort of parts of it through her acting, and the fact that it's copying, bit of childishness coming through. Like it's you almost get the personality of this creature, even though you don't see it. And the fact that moment when it starts to go after the Doctor, when you realise that the Doctor's been captured by this entity and that now it's going ahead of him.
Because Charlotte, we are ahead of everybody else who's in that room, who's in that vehicle. We work out, or we are shown, we're communicated by the writer and by the sound, everything else. We know that Sky isn't all right now, don't we? And
yeah,
we're that little bit ahead. So I was shouting at the screen, going, "No, it's the." I was going, "No, she's still the one. She's the wrong one."
Yeah, and also that when it's like fully captured the Doctor,
I've seen it before.
it's also it's the way she acts that you also get that sense of, oh, this thing's so proud, and it's now enjoying that it's got all these people by its side, like that idea of Gary said at one point they're with the Doctor, now they're all against him. This creature's won. It's basically won at that point of the episode.
Yeah.
The Doctor's going to die unless something drastic happens. I think that's what shocks you with this episode.
And it's staggering how badly throughout the whole episode the Doctor misreads the room.
God,
I mean, it's like, for as much as he knows about humanity, for him to try to rationally convince them, hey, this is a new life form. We got to get to know it. They don't care at that point. And then when he says, you're going to have to get through me, and I think the husband says, okay. You know, it's like he just misreads everything from start to finish.
But I think the creature expertly reads the humans, and that's how it gets ahead.
Yes.
Then it's sort of, but it couldn't predict that the air hostess was going to sacrifice herself. It didn't. Was that something like, for example, a Doctor probably would have predicted that. The Doctor knows humans in that way, that we have got that ability to do good, but the creature didn't know that, so that happened to be what did it at the end.
And I love that all the payoff, because everything was set up, the 6 seconds for the seal, that had already been mentioned, you know, everything. I mean, the Doctor's life gets saved because of the crap that he speaks right at the beginning, basically, and the air hostess character picking up on it. That's literally what saved his life. Oh, I've not heard French and Italian before.
Being observant.
But again, it's just so clever. Remember when scripts were clever?
Vanessa Law says, he can write good characters. Nobody builds characters like Russell T Davies. I wouldn't say he's back on form at the moment, but he has built a couple of good ones over the last couple of episodes. It's, this was really when he was at the top of his game, though. David Jenkins says, I get that Doctor Who needs a variety of tones, but at no point in Classic Who or the 2005 to 2020 New Who have the stories been so juvenile, so silly. I utterly do not agree that Who used to be silly. It's been silly. It's been silly in fits and starts, isn't it?
Yeah, because farting aliens is really serious. So
I don't view silly as a bad thing. I think Doctor Who should be silly now and again. I think it's fine. I think there's nothing wrong with this show being silly. In my view, Alonzi, for example, shouting Alonzi every episode, that's pretty silly. That always got on my bloody nerves as well. Lots of love for Gary's hat in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. Obviously, the people with very good taste, Gary.
Everybody shares this sentiment.
Yeah, we do. But again,
it seems so.
If this was such a brilliant self-contained story, so I can't understand why it would need a sequel or a prequel. In fact, I don't know what's worse. I think a prequel could be worse. We don't need explanations, and we certainly do not need to see it.
It clearly doesn't need one. But I was wondering what could be said with a sequel. Is the writer, is Russell T Davies going to return to those themes, the idea that to show what human beings could be capable of? It seems like a bigger cast in the well that's coming up in a couple of days. Of looking down, there seems to be considerably more people in the cast for this, but it does look again like a confined space, not as confined as this, but a confined space. It certainly has the intensity, and the trailer we're looking at earlier on, that did have a similar kind of mood as well, even though obviously this is a different director. Could it be a sequel? I mean, there aren't really, other than the origin of the entity knocking on the outside, is there anywhere else it could go story-wise, Luke, that you can see? Is there anything untapped there other than that being itself and where it hails from?
I really don't know. To be honest, it's the most. I love a sequel. Like I love a sequel. It's like Russell does them with, like, all the Dalek episodes in his classic run are all sequels to each other. But this one but they all tell one distinct story from the time, or the Cult of Skaro, everything. They all, if you watch the Dalek episodes, they all tell one distinct story. But this one is very much, it's very self-contained. You kind of just leave it. Personally, I would have left it alone. I don't think it needs a sequel. I'm very intrigued by it. I'm very, very intrigued, slightly trepidatious about it. But I have on good authority that it is one of the better episodes, or one of the best episodes that they've done in a long, long time. So it's piqued my attention. So maybe it's not. Maybe we got it all wrong, and it's a sequel to the Satan Pit. Who knows? Like,
I mean,
who knows?
But I wouldn't want that either, though, Luke. I love that.
If it's more, this was a sincere
effort. This was a sincere effort on our part, Gary, to go back to it and to perhaps find something tucked away in a corner. But there aren't really any corners.
Well, here's the thing. If it's more of a thematic follow-up rather than a direct sequel, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still have a very effective story kind of revisiting the same ideas or mood without, going so literal as to be a sequel.
Yeah. I do have to go, so I'll say what my fear is.
Okay.
And it's because of what Russell has been doing with Shooty's run so far. Do not link this to the Pantheon.
Someone in the chat said this. The god of language is like, oh no.
Do not link it in any way to this pantheon of the gods you have been trying to do. Because I said this about the Lux character in our live reaction, so I'll keep it short. If you're going to do Pantheon, Russell, you need to have really interesting writing around the gods. You need to show them in different ways. You need to have real contrast in your gods. That's how gods usually work. Just having them all be crazy, I want to destroy the world in different ways, sort of writing, is not interesting. So don't make this either a harbinger, which is the other thing he likes to go back to recently, of the gods, or now tell me it's one of these mythical beings. Because for me, that would just completely take away the interest, and I do have to go. I've just got the knock, so
okay.
I will see you all on Saturday.
Yeah, see you Saturday.
Good luck, Charlotte.
Thank you.
And it's not even midnight. Good night, Charlotte.
No.
See you soon. Bye bye.
To answer what Chris had put, and I think Charlotte had come with this as well, so I just want to give her credit with this idea if she's still in the chat. This episode has got a character played by that an actress who is deaf. As in,
yes,
hard of hearing, not Sutek, not the god of death. So if it is that thing of god of language, is sign language going to be part of that? And it isn't going to be like speech, like with Sky Silvestri. It's going to be this character with sign language, perhaps. But I don't really know if I want to see that either.
Oh, I actually think that's quite interesting.
But hold up, Charlotte came up with this when we were talking, so it's not me, this is Charlotte. So if she's right, please go and congratulate her on Saturday.
This is
something that we were talking about.
You're talking about this actress, aren't you? Now, I've never seen her in anything, but she's very, very popular. 2 or 3 years on EastEnders for Rose Ayling-Ellis, 30-year-old English actress, television presenter, and writer of children's books. Her first children's book is coming out in a couple of months' time, I think. But she played Frankie Lewis on EastEnders. And then she went on to win Strictly Come Dancing as well. So a bit of a darling of the BBC. In her list of credits are crime dramas, Ludwig, and Code of Silence. Whatever that Ludwig thing is, my mum and my Auntie Anne love this. They've watched it. They talk about it all the time. So, Rose Ayling-Ellis. People are excited about her being in this. She does seem to be very, very popular. And obviously she will be able to sign and all that. Yeah. God, I think that's a fabulous idea from Charlotte. I mean, it's an interesting sort of wrinkle on what we've had before, an extension, expansion, deviation from communication, I suppose, the nature of communication. I think she could be onto something with that. Any thoughts, anybody else?
I've been kind of curious, where did this idea that this could possibly be a sequel to anything get floated?
Russell come out.
Idea.
Russell's come out, didn't he? And he said one of them is a very unexpected sequel that we don't know.
Okay.
Russell said it on Unleashed,
Okay.
and I think a lot of this season is leaked, apparently. And one of the leaks that got proven true was from episode 1, and then DWM confirmed a couple others accidentally. And so it's the same leaker that leaked everything about the bi-generation and everything. And then in this one, then you can see the countdown turns to 0 from like 29:59 to midnight as the well is doing. So I think everyone's put 2 and 2 together and maybe got 4.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see how they try to shoehorn Mrs. Flood into this.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
She's at the bottom of the well. She's the
maybe
person that needs rescue.
Because somebody pushed her in.
I was going to say Russell T Davies isn't in the habit of sequeling things, but then New Earth was a sequel to The End of the World, and you look, they're probably more than I'm aware of. Considering there was only how many episodes in his run, like 40, the original run. And Charlotte's right, and that was Chris from Black Love Studio mentioned that in the live chat about the pantheon of gods. I hate to say it, but I think there could probably be some truth in that.
Somebody says in that alcove, one of the green things in that alcove is Meglos, so maybe it's a sequel to that.
Well, I would love to see Shooty Gatwa's doctor look like a cactus. I think I might actually tune in.
Few facts about midnight before we move on from that. So 14th of June 2008, that episode premiered on the BBC. 8.05 million people watched it live, even though the Euros were on ITV at the same time, and it got, get this, 38% of the audience share that night live. Incredible.
David is somewhere in the chat right now being like, "Oh well, you wait till Monday. I'll get you on this." he's in here somewhere.
Was in the live chat. Filmed double banked with Turn Left, and apparently Russell was also inspired by the Star Trek: The Next Generation episode Darmok. Gary, that's the one with Paul.
Right.
What's the actor's name who plays the
Paul?
alien? Whitfield.
Okay, that was like Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
Yeah,
where they were communicating with metaphors. Yeah,
good stuff. One of the best episodes of TNG.
Yeah, in
my opinion, even though it's in broad daylight, it's still, for the most part, it's still very intense.
Source of a billion memes out there. That episode.
Yeah, so Doctor Who was riding high at the time. I think that obviously normal people who don't obsess about this stuff. I do wonder, has this episode lived in the normies' minds the way it has ours, Sarah? I think that if people saw this on the night, are they going to remember it 17 years later? Perhaps not. But I think if they ever flashed a clip from it up on TV in a clips package or something like that, or they happen to come across it when they're flipping channels, or they dive onto the Whoniverse app, they go, "Oh yeah, I remember this one. This was." It does stay with you, doesn't it?
I think they probably wouldn't remember that it was called Midnight, but I think if you showed them a picture of David Tennant and Leslie Sharp, they'd go, "Oh, it's that one." I think you're right. But yeah, no, the normies, going on My Family, the normies remember the big Doomsday gets brought up a lot, and Voyage of the Damned. My mum, she's never been a Doctor Who fan. She never will be. I keep trying. It's never going to happen. But the one episode she did watch was Voyage of the Damned, because Kylie Minogue was in it. And she loved it. She absolutely bloody loved it. But I still couldn't get her watch the following series, and but yeah, it's that kind of the big epics is what the normies tend to remember, whereas we obsessively remember everything.
This pairing was very, very popular. Yeah, it's popular with the actors. They loved working with one another, and yeah, it's something they would bring back several years later, which I know is a thorny issue. But going back and watching them apart, it is weird, even though they're not together. You do get the impression that Donna is still kind of on his mind, and of course, there's that scene too with Rose where she just sort of flips into view, doesn't she, on a screen behind them. And I'd forgotten how much of a big deal all that content was, because we'd seen her in Partners in Crime, and they'd dropped little moments like that throughout, hadn't they? With the Donna had spoken to her and the doctor wasn't there, the doctor turns away and he's missed her, all that kind of thing. It's parlor tricks, really, but it's so much fun because it's very family friendly, Gary.
Yeah, I can only imagine, like, when people first saw that, everybody was probably screaming at the screen.
I was.
Yeah.
Turn around. Turn around, man. Turn around. Yeah, it was very much like that. Yeah, so that's Midnight from 2008. The Well is coming up in a couple of days' time. We've tried to figure out where it could be going. I think it sounds like something has leaked. I think we're circling some possibles here. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. Not afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid of The Well when it screens this coming weekend. Is it going to be vintage Russell T Davies like we used to get back in the day? Could he have rediscovered his talent for building character and really chilling us in a way that he said, in the way that he promised there in that Radio Times article that we saw? Or could it be another damp squib? We'll have to wait and see, won't we? I am on the edge of my seat, Luke. I mean, this does look like the kind of episode, the kind of drama, the flavour of Doctor Who that it desperately needs now. Not just after the last couple of weeks, because I've enjoyed the last couple of episodes to one degree or another. But for me, the most successful of this era so far is by a country mile, The Legend of Ruby Sunday, and that had that creeping menace as well. And that was quite, I wouldn't say it was claustrophobic as such, but it did build, and it was intense in places. And I think that when they're clearly still very capable of doing that, and they really do need to lean into it now, because it may be baseline settings, it may even be low hanging fruit for Doctor Who, but if it's ripe, take it. This show needs all the help it can get at the moment to remind the viewers, or to maybe to kickstart them into falling back in love with it in what little time it's got left the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think my only trepidation with this one is there seems to be a large cast, and for 45 minutes, it's a lot. So I guess we're going to get some people are going to be offed very, very quickly. Then,
yeah,
there's going to be a lot of deaths. Yeah, because you're not going to have so much character development for like 10 people a year. So there's going to be a lot of deaths. I imagine you're going to have a lot of shooty crying.
It'll be like Aliens compared to Alien. You think it could be like that?
Absolutely. It's like absolutely. So hopefully, as I said, I've heard very good things about this episode. So I'm putting a pin in it, and I'm very excited for it. It's slightly trepidatious, but I'm excited. As long as it is like a thematic sequel, as Gary said, like I'm all on board. If it's a direct one, I'm going to be like, this is going to be a bit of a reach, but who knows? Who knows?
I keep coming back to Luke's earlier comment about that his people said that episodes 3 and 4 are the strongest in many of the Moon, and I think, well, those are the two episodes which involve writers who aren't Russell T Davies. I wonder if there's some kind of correlation there.
This show needs some old school thrills sooner rather than later. Let us know which one was your favourite, and what do you think is coming our way in the next couple of days. We've got, the window is closing, everybody, but you've got time to get your comments in, get scratching your head. In the meantime, you could always get it in again yourself, because Midnight is everywhere, isn't it? So it's still available on DVD and on Blu-ray. I think the Series 4 box set, and there's a collected box set as well. You've probably got it on your shelf, gathering dust, whereas you usually find it through the iPlayer, don't you now? Or you go over to the Whoniverse app, and there it all is with everything else. So if you do watch it as well, if you go back to it in the way that we have, then let us know what you think. And has it aged as well for you as it clearly has for all of us here at Type 40 Live? Yeah, keep the comments coming. That's what we want. And yeah, we'll get back to you, of course, with our thoughts about the sequel, the maybe sequel. Maybe.
Now, all the time's piece has fallen apart. And the only way to fix that and to help is to watch Type 40. Now, excuse me, I'm off to save Whoniverse.
Hell of a coat.
You know, a great costume.
That gentleman at A Christmas Carol last year with Simon. So hello.
Dan, you're muted, by the way. Just to let everyone know. Dan's still there. He's just muted himself.
He's not. He's been taken over.
No, something. No, it's okay. Something just happened with the signal or something. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're flying the flag as always for the talent and dedication and creativity out here in Doctor Who fandom. It's second to none, and so there's no shortage of pretty pictures to distract us from the dull every day as we scroll through our pudding-brained lives. Here at Type 40 Live, we've always done what we can to encourage and showcase Doctor Who fan art and artists in our virtual gallery. It's all in an effort to fill up these virtual walls. Big, grey walls. Oh, isn't it awful? I've completely fallen out of love with this, Sarah, in the time that you've been away. We need to cover it all with colourful Doctor Who fan art, traditional or digital. Could be from model makers or cosplayers, crafters, anything. Let's cover as much of it as we can. There's been lots of great fan art circling the fan communities this week, inspired by lots and lots of things, including William Hartnell, the original Doctor, of course, forever the first Doctor. William Hartnell passed away 50 years ago this week, and so there have been many arty tributes out there to him, not least of all this piece of AA art. Why the first Doctor is staring into a shop window in the 1960s. I'm still trying to work it out where the hidden message is in this, Sarah.
I don't know. I'm at a loss.
He hasn't even brought his shopping bags with him, so he can't be looking to pick anything up, can he?
Maybe he was just hungry on his way back to the junkyard. I don't know.
Could be going off
Or
to
the
feed a lion.
replicator's not working.
I don't know. That's the best way to display meat.
No, probably not. So this is a strange one. I have no idea who's responsible for this, but it's so unusual. I knew you'd probably like it. Have we got any comments in the live chat? Nice sausage, says David Milling.
Could it be the Feast of Stephen? I'm really.
Maybe. Now, if there was the letters, if the Stevens Butchers was etched into the window, that would work.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Who knows? Who knows? Far more fitting is this fabulous cartoon here, summing up the first Doctor's era. This is from Steve May, and we see the Doctor scowling behind a big number one. Oh, that sounds rude. But behind a big number one.
Look at the little Zarby. That's so cute.
Zarby's Chumbly,
yeah,
and a 10th Planet Cyberman Gary stalking the Doctor.
Anything that has a Chumbly and a Zarby in it is aces with me. Nice job.
It makes me think of I know it's a one, but it makes me think of the BBC Two indent.
Yeah.
I could imagine it, coming to life.
I could very happily watch a cartoon done in this style.
Me too.
So could I. I could think of one person in particular that could get to voice that, Stephen. Couldn't they? That could be pretty good. And, I still don't know why they're not making special animated original stories of Doctor Who as much as I know a lot of people enjoy the animated recons, but I think they're missing out on a trick there with animated movies. The little Dalek is awesome, says David Jenkins. That's a Chumbly, I think.
Chumbly,
Galaxy 4?
Galaxy 4.
That's definitely a Chumbly.
I think. And lots of affection, obviously, for William Hartnell, first and last and always, says Lee Smith in the live chat. Yeah, 50 years. Yesterday, I think it was, since William Hartnell passed away. This fabulous cartoon from Steve May. I don't know if Hartnell would approve of this. I think he probably did. He must have had a sense of humour underneath all that crustiness. Luke, I'd like to think he can't possibly have been as crusty as people make out.
No, not at all. He's the naughty granddad, isn't he? He's the one who's just like, he's like, oh, go on then. He's being offensive again. Oh, it's just him, where he's like, yeah. But he brought the warmth to the character as well, and especially when you watch the Adventures Space and Time as well, and you see the bits of him out in the park with kids and all that stuff, and you think if there was some element of truth to that, and he was anything like he was in Adventurous Space and Time, then what a fantastic human being. Apart from that interview when he's just like, oh yeah, Doctor Who, I'll get another role after this and be remembered for that. He's like, no, you won't.
I want to say, Steve, we want to see 2 through 12, so get cracking.
Yes.
Get the whole series out. Lots of the fan art this week has unsurprisingly been inspired by Lux episode 2 of the latest season of Doctor Who. The one that went all meta. It started out pretty good. I thought very creepy. Lots of menace and foreboding and dark corners, and then it went all over the place. I'm not even sure what happened at the end. Some of it, Gary, I haven't gone back and rewatched it, but I think this character was called Sally Sunshine. Somebody likes her because they've created this fan art. This is from Camille over on X.
Okay.
A nice kind of funky anime take on. Well, it was the Projector's Missus, wasn't it? His late wife that appeared to him as an apparition in the final reel.
Well, it was she was in the Lux cartoon, right?
Oh, was she? Was he
the one that Lux was singing to?
Oh, yes. There you go. That's shows how much attention I was paying.
Mr. Ring.
But I do think that she was supposed to be a representation of that. I think she was not necessarily how his wife actually was, but how he chose to remember how he romanticized her, I suppose, is in all seriousness.
Yeah, that was definitely for me the most touching element of that show was the projectionist and his late wife.
Oh, there you go. I got it completely wrong. No, that's the cartoon character in the Ring-a-Ding cartoon, says Fly Highland. There you go. Must have been blindsided by
very, very cute.
Everything that came afterwards. But yeah, I like this sort of stuff. I like the colours, and they turn these kind of things into stickers, don't they? On X and Instagram, they sell them on Etsy and things like that. It's all part of the fun. I think I do like this a lot. I want more of Sunshine Sally, says Lee Smith. I've even got the name the wrong way around.
Very similar outfit to Mrs. Flood at the end.
That's what Steve Maddox says.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yes, Stephen.
Very curious. She looks like Smurfette, says Lee Smith.
Yeah,
you could be right. She looks like something from My Little Pony, says Tom. Tom from T-Dwarf Productions. You could be right. You could be right. At the other end, we have this piece of fan art from Rafe Warbank, one of so many fan posters for the story. This one has the edge, in my view, the kind of Art Deco look, the way he's used it to drop in elements from throughout the story, not least of all items from the shelf in the flat there that belong to those 3 Doctor Who fans who were watching it all play out. So there is a DVD, a Blu-ray box set in there, as well as a New Adventures novel, an old VHS tape, and the animated figures of the Doctor and Belinda, and yeah, I just think this is wonderful stuff. Poor Rafe, he's such a great illustrator, but in this one, I think he's really tapped into that 50s aesthetic and given it, I suppose, a bit of a neon kind of 80s twist as well, and yet it doesn't feel out of place.
It looks stunning. He's done a really good job of that. I wish this era deserved, this effort. But I'm glad Rafe obviously enjoyed it, so good for him. I'm glad it's inspiring him to create pretty stuff like this. I mean, it is the colours are gorgeous. It's got that kind of like LA Confidential almost kind of vibe, like you were saying. But Stephen, it puts again. All the BBC stuff seems so like half-arsed compared to what fans can make.
Those shells that looks like Sarah's shells
this year. I have liked the posters this year, but I do think that this stuff is blowing it all away. I mean, whether this would be marketable in a magazine or in a bus shelter, it probably wouldn't, in all fairness. But I would rather have artistic renderings of these characters than the same promotional pictures over and over again, or just any kind of promotional picture. Really, I think they should be braver and go more illustrative. Gary, in this manner, there's so many great artists. Joe Cook's another great fan artist who does similar styles and compositions. But Rafe does a lot of work for Big Finish, so some of the stuff that he's done for them, he's really injected new life into a lot of their lines. I feel very distinctive artist, fabulous.
Yeah, I'm all for illustrations like this. I mean, remember back in what was it, season 7? We got like movie posters for every one of the Matt Smith episodes.
Yeah, I loved all that.
The same kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. David Jenkins says, "Look, that art poster for Lux is fantastic. Stuck quality, is that sick quality and detail?" That puts the BBC posters in the shade, says Stephen Braddock, and it's stunning.
Mm-hmm.
He should have made the side bits look like film, though, says Lee Smith. Maybe there's maybe, but I think it works pretty effectively.
It does.
Like this. I mean, yeah, I like this. The brightness of it as well. Reminds me of the Drew Struzan cinema posters of the 80s too, Gary. That's what I mean, but it's an 80s vibe to it.
And if you look on the shells, I mean, the shells look very 3D. I mean, there's even like shading on the sides and tops of each of the boxes, which is not really necessary, but just adds to the fact that we're looking at shells with things on them. I mean, that's an excellent touch.
Brilliant artwork from Rafe Warbank. And finally, we've got another one from another favourite artist of ours. Couldn't not have this one. Another trip back in time to the 70s, or is it the 60s, with Oliver Arkestel Jones?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Meets Batman 66 mashup poster here in his signature style. So we've got the fold lines, the crease lines, where you would fold a quad poster that would go in cinemas in the 60s and 70s. That's very much in place, as is the BBC logo of the time and the 20th Century Fox emblem in the bottom right-hand corner that we're used to seeing on posters for that original Batman movie and Planet of the Apes films and things like that. Again, his Oliver style is probably my favourite of all the artists that we look at, bursting with colour. So much fun. And I've always loved, I love Batman anyway, but Batman 66, I grew up with that show. He's even got Joe Grant as Batgirl.
I love.
I have got to.
I want this to happen.
I have got to have this as a full poster right now.
The good news is that Oliver does have a online shop where you can order these. You can order these. It's a round of applause from Dalek Live's Matter. Stephen Braddock also wants that poster. Gary, I want that poster.
Here's another reason why I want this. The fact that apparently this movie, the Doctor Who Batman, was written by Robert Holmes. I can't wait to see how Robert Holmes writes Batman, and directed by Doug Camfield. So this is going to be an epic.
Oh, if only somebody will make that in AI one day, won't they?
It will.
Wow, Pow says crimpling doubloon. Oh, yes, says David Millink. Don't shoot your bolt yet, mate. Oh, isn't that fabulous, says Vanessa Law. I've got a big woo.
The Joker still has his little Cesar Romero mustache there.
Yeah, it's perfect. I think this should be the 70th anniversary special.
Yes.
Yeah. David Jenkins says it's another fantastic piece of fan art. The last two are masterclass artists. to draw the faces in such a lifelike way. The late Adam West, of course, many people's favourite Batman, even to this day, even post Christian Bale, even post Ben Affleck, and everybody else that we've had. It makes me want to go back and watch an episode or watch that original 66.
How'd you like to see this as an animated movie, Dan?
I did, yeah, I'd watch that.
I'd watch it, yeah.
Oh yes, get Tim Treloar to voice the Doctor, and you're set, aren't you? You're set. It needs a voiceover from the Batman series, according to Duncan the Funky Evans. Cheers for that one, Funky.
I just want to see
his website.
I want to see a scene with the Joker and the Master together.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? The Master would fit perfectly into that pantheon, funnily enough, of Batman villains from that classic series.
That's right.
In fact, I think we're lucky we got it
before they did. Look at that.
There you go. Let's have a closer look, Gary. Oh, there it is on Blu-ray as well.
Let's go.
Awesome.
I'd love to see a scene on Batman and Robin. You know the famous one, there's climbing up the window, but it's the side of the TARDIS and they're going up.
That would be ace. That would be absolutely fantastic stuff. Yes, Oliver Arkenstall-Jones, his Batman Doctor Who mashup poster. Yes, I don't know if this is listed yet, but his stuff does tend to be. He runs them off as prints and as posters. You can order them. And away you go there. There's a wealth of choice. We've featured many of them here on the show. I dare say we will be again, but we're very, very greedy. We need more fan art to fill up those big grey walls. How can you play your part? You can reach out to us through our social media and tell us where to find it. That's Instagram and X at Type40 Doctor Who, as always, or join us in the Type40 Facebook group over there on Facebook and fill the wall with your favourite fan art, if it's your own work, somebody else's work, or some links to where we can find it. Yes, make it easy for us and we'll get some more fan art up here on the wall. You can also join in, interact with Type40 and Type40 Live, new for 2025. I've got to stop saying that, haven't I? You can send us a message there on SpeakPipe. So, yeah, you can be part of Type40 by recording us a message, a question, a prediction, maybe for Saturday's The Well, any feedback whatsoever. Head over to SpeakPipe and get in touch. Oh, what else? What next? Where next? What's going on? Oh, Doctor Who, of course. Yeah, Doctor Who's back on Saturday, everybody. Sarah, you're not watching this season, are you? Are you tempted by our conversation this evening?
No, but I'm going to feel awful if Luke doesn't enjoy it now.
Probably will. I'm enjoying the series anyway. I'm in the minority, so...
Look, I hope it delivers genuinely. I am checked out of this series, but it has been nice to kind of theorize about, proper things that fans should be theorizing about, rather than what crap is going to come up. Or we're not talking about the politics and any nasty stuff. It's been nice to actually just theorize about what could be happening in an episode, which makes a nice change. I hope you all get something out of it and it isn't a massive disaster. But I do agree with Luke that I think this one and the next one probably will be the best. I think there might be no, and maybe not. I don't know. There could be a bump if word of mouth is good. Next week's will definitely be good, honestly, because Shooty's not in it and Ruby's back and she was popular. I think it might level out until the dreaded Eurovision, and then I think it's just going to fall off a cliff again.
Yes, just
so enjoy it while you can.
Just as Gary said, well, that's the thing when you're looking at something like that on the horizon, it's actually very difficult to enjoy a series when you know what's coming one's way. Gary, as Gary says in the live chat there, Gary, you're quite right. Remember to join us on Saturday for the reaction show. Yeah, this is coming up in just under 2 days' time now. Yes, Type40 Live Wellness. However long it's going to be, we're going to get well together and instantly review The Well live streaming from 8 p.m. UK Saturday across all platforms, as always, with our new Who reactions, for better or for worse. A set of us will be here to trade our views with yours and maybe pull in some more voices and faces from across podcasting and YouTube. What could possibly go wrong? We'll see you there from 8 p.m. as ever. In the meantime, get your comments in, get your theories in for where you think that episode could go, because we're all ears and we're just as eager to find out as you are, he says, looking on the upside. But I think it is time to pull the handle, pull the lever. Sarah, it's been fantastic to have you back. Hope you can make some more shows in the not too distant future. You know that family commitments and various other things sort of pulling you back in and out of our time stream. But we're going to be making some more videos. I don't doubt some more podcasts as well. In the meantime, you've always got a seat ready with your name on the back, just like you're joining the Avengers.
Thank you. Proper Avengers, not all new or different Avengers.
No, proper Avengers.
No, it's been lovely to be back, lovely to talk with everybody, and happy to revisit good times, and hopefully there might be some better times on the horizon, but we shall see. But thank you everybody for having me.
Yeah, everybody in the chat, love having you back.
The Zero Room has joined us. There are people still joining, Luke. What's your advice to them? They've just joined.
Go to bed.
Go to bed. Late. I suggest they stay up for another 2.5 hours to go back and watch the show.
Exactly.
Rewatch it. And
give the handle a yank. Yeah.
That's and then give the handle a yank and then go to bed.
Yes. Okay. So yes, we've got what we've got coming up. Yeah, more of the same. Basically, you'll get our customary candid, hottest of takes as we're processing them after the well, coming up on Saturday there from 8 p.m. here in the console room. We'll be taking your comments, rants and raves, and all opinions are as welcome as ever. Saturday from 8 p.m. Okay, thank you as always to Charlotte Shields. Thank you, Gary, too. You're going to need to give me the link to where I can get one of those caps. I'm not...
I will.
You're going to tune in on Saturday and all the panels are going to be wearing the same
Dan,
cap.
I will. You can get them in a variety of colors, so you just pick your favorite.
He's a good egg.
Yeah.
We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. But we're shuffling off for just a couple of days. Live a real life for a little while before it's back in less than 48 hours. We'll see you then. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.